Might take too long, but he hits the free
Oh
fire on
my
2
goodness.
players.
Oh my gosh, Ayala, don't do it to him, Ayala! Don't do it to him!
Oh,
Happens, the
my
magic
goodness.
happens. Mythic. Oh! Oh, from Naden gets the first.
Reload.
What an opening salvo.
Ooh,
Oh!
the beam, it's a 1v1.
Say peekaboo. 1 down, 3 to go. Ooh, this is gonna be zombie boys. They need a speech. They got 1. They're looking at 2.
Oh, this looks good. Actually,
Oh.
looks real good, baby.
And welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Titan Series Season 4, Week number 2. We are back, and it has to feel good. I'm feeling good, and I hope you are as well. We're going to get to see some of the best compete, talking about North America and that one sneaky EU team that's looking to disrupt everything if they can. I'm your host, Taylor Reflections Noble, but I can't do the job alone. Of course, we're going to bring in some familiar faces this time around. Starting off, we've got Enigma. We have Mustache Dave, looking great. Dave, loving the shirt first and foremost. Where'd you get it? Because I got to pick one up.
Hey, the secret see-through shirt store, all right? I can't tell you right now, man. Secret only for me to know. So thanks for pointing it out, though. Feeling good, looking good. It's week 2, baby, of the Titan series.
Week 2, man. Gotta feel good. And for some, a chance to catch up, right, Enigma? Because we have an outlier. We'll be showing stats in a little bit, but 412 Nomads, they've been tearing it up.
Yeah, I mean, they finished top 3 out of 4 games. 2 of them they won. So, I mean, if you're wanting to start off strong in the Titan series, 2 out of 4 wins doesn't sound too bad in my book.
That's right, 2 out of 4 wins. That's 50%. Plus, they got 3rd place in game number 1. Again, we'll be recapping all this in just a bit. But first, let's talk about what's at stake here, right? Because there's a lot of money on the line. In first place, well, they get the well of the prize. I'm talking $1,200. Whereas second and third, still respectable, walking away with $500 and $300 apiece. But regardless, though, $1,200, that is a large majority to get. And all that's going to be earned during the season finals. Now, of course, we've been talking about this qualifier spot. This time around, it's going to be the PMSL qualifying spot, a chance to really earn your keep when it comes to really, PUBG Mobile, right? You want a chance to prove yourself. The PMSL is the way to do it. Mustache Dave, what does it mean for a chance to compete in PMSL?
Yeah, I mean, it's a huge opportunity, right? When it comes to the ecosystem for PUBG Mobile as a whole, it's all about stepping stones, right? And if a team can get that golden ticket in the Titan series, that's just one more step up when it comes to competing on the biggest stage in the world when it comes to PUBG Mobile, which is also going on right now, actually. So this is a great start for some of these teams who might not already be qualified, right here, Enigma?
That's right.
Yeah, I mean, for the most part, a lot of these teams, we're not sure how many of these PMPL teams are going to be getting that sort of PMSL slot. So if you're in a tournament like Titan Series, you didn't make PMGC and stuff like that, this is your chance, to really secure yourself a spot and being able to play for that Super League position. Because, I mean, hey, it could be anyone's game at this point. We saw the first week, Nomads pulling 2 out of 4 wins. I think a lot of these teams have that sort of potential. So if I'm any of these teams that aren't in PMGC or, we're in Americas, I'd be gunning for that slot.
I think the beautiful thing in general is of course, we have the PUBG Mobile Pro League going on, then you also have PMSL, but you have PUBG Mobile taking place pretty much consistently throughout the week, and that's a beautiful thing, especially for those who avidly support PUBG Mobile as a whole and the competitive ecosystem. Great things happening all around, but let's get into our brass tacks of things, right? The standings from last week going into this week, and we kind of alluded to the fact that the number 1 spot, 412 Nomads, 412, whatever you want to call them, they dominate. They win 2 out of 4 games last week. They also get 3rd place in game number 1. Game 4, but they were able to rest on their spoils of war from the previous 3 games. 66 points, dominating. But Dauntless, YKG, both tied at 39 and 39 apiece. Dave, that's getting tied up there, at least in the top 5.
Oh, it sure is, man. And by the way, talking to the Nomads, they say we can call them the Nomads. So 412 respect, but Nomads, it just rolls off the tongue here.
It does.
But yeah, I mean, kind of chatting with the homies, they said, listen, Dave, C4 back-to-back champions, that's over with. That's not going to be the case here this season. And with 66 points after one day, it's going to be a challenge for Dauntless and YKG to play catch-up here today.
That's it. While we look at our top 8, let's go for 9 through 16. And this is where things start to get a bit scary. Granted, Enigma, it's only week number 2, but a lot of catching up to do already.
Yeah, and I mean, we did see a lot of new faces on that first page, like SLR, that sort of stuff. Those teams that, you know, were usually on the bottom part of the leaderboard coming out of the first week in the previous Titan series. So improvements to them. Shout out to them, so to speak, in terms of being able to improve their gameplay. But these teams like Passion Fruit, Mazexis, Extreme Slayers even, where we've seen them, you know, have a bit more of a dominant performance, kind of a little bit off the gas pedal the first week.
Well, it was a quote from Hot Jukes last week. Extreme Slayers, biggest developmental team of Titan series. But 12th place doesn't show me that they are developing. One of the reasons they got into trouble last week, they were way too aggressive trying to get the full finish on the C4. It ended up biting them in the butt. And quite honestly, they never recovered from map 2 to 3 and then ultimately to map number 4. This has to be their week if they want to be competitive. Now, as far as the maps go, it's the maps you know and love. We're going to have 4 once again, starting off with the same rotation: Erangel, Miramar, Sanhok, and then back to Erangel, in which Erangel seems to be kind of the map everybody can win day. But when it comes to Miramar and Sanhok right now, granted only week number 2, that's Nomads, right? That's their territory, and they're looking to reclaim it this week.
Yeah, and I love that we got Sanhok as map number 3 because it's like the reset almost, where you know, you kind of just throw teams in and hope for the best. But going back to the Nomads real quick, just looking at TitanSeries.gg, they had 3 out of top 5 when it comes to total damage done, with Foops almost at 600 damage on average per game. I know they only played 4 games, so it's kind of skewed a little bit, but it just goes to show you, like, how much this team showed up in week number 1.
Yeah, they definitely did. 17 elims, which was the highest eliminations we saw in a single game that was owned by the Nomads, specifically in Game 3, which was on Sanhok. So big numbers that they're putting up. Even game number 2, I think, was a little bit lower, maybe 14, but even still, that matched the number 1 team, which was Dauntless, who won Erangel Map 1 last week with 14. And again, that was matched by the Nomads. So they are truly the team to beat. So Enigma, that raises the question for all those looking to beat them, what do they do to get out ahead?
I mean, it's a matter of, you know, maybe you're playing edge too much and the center's kind of free, maybe vice versa in that sense. But Nomads last week, just like that, they were finding every piece of the puzzle when it came to some of those zone shifts, some of those fights they chose to take. Now, the last map, of course, you know, was a bit of a, we'll just kind of forget about that. They're still first. You know, they're basically double in terms of points when it comes to first and second place. So the Nomads right now are the team that you're wanting to either mirror or take advantage of and maybe follow behind them because there's tournament play. I mean, there's money on the line. You're wanting to, even if you have to play for that sort of position, that backstab potential on Nomads. I mean, right now it's looking like the only option for some of these teams.
Only option indeed, man. They've got to get to work, and hot drops were a big storyline for map number 1 last week. This week, it's going to be just the same. Quick predictions, though, before we head into map number 1. Dave, we'll start with you. Who you going with?
Real quick, I'm just going to go with Passion Fruit. Big fan of this squad.
Passion Fruit, I like it. Enigma, what about you?
Super Lazy Reflex, baby.
You know, Super Lazy Reflex showed me yesterday they can ball it out, and I'm going to go with them too. They're my pick. So map number 1, Erangel, it's coming up. Week number 2 is about to be starting off hot, and I can't wait to get it started because of the fact, again, those hot drops, they are impactful. Who's going to win? Will it be Zombie Boys versus Passion Fruit, Butterfly Effect versus Golden Eagle? We're about to find out. Without further ado, map number 1, Erangel. Boys, take it away.
Titan Series week number 2 here, looking good. We got the Nomads, obviously a huge storyline with their point gap, but a lot of, like you said in the pre-show, Enigma, a lot of these squads are kind of new, like formations, you know, when they're coming together as a 4-man team. So really last week was, in my opinion, like that warm-up week, all right? We got the warm-up done. We had the opportunity to go back and watch the VODs. This is the week that you want to see it all come together.
Yeah, and I mean, for the most part, what I'm wanting to not see much is hot drops from people taking, you know, those 3 teams in Pachinki. I believe it was game 1 of the first week. The last match of the day, you know, some people just getting eliminated super early on when it's like, okay, maybe we could have just gone back and looked at, you know, what spots were open, even off the plane path. I mean, you see the players dropping in with you, so you know who kind of takes what, so to speak. But in my eyes, I'm hoping that for this week, we have some sort of improvement with the lower half of the leaderboard, because when you reach that second game, you're basically at the midpoint of the tournament. After that, Sanhok, which in everyone's eyes, of course, is a bit of a wild card slot, you're not really going to be feeling too comfortable if you're on that bottom 8 going into that third match.
Yeah, I totally agree. As we're getting this beautiful cinematics of Erangel. I mean, I love this map. Definitely the comfort pick, and we will have 2 of them here today. And kind of going back to the topic of hot drops. We saw it week 1, all right? And you were just talking about it. Week number 2, though, I got to get your hot take. Are we going to see it here again today?
I mean, you got 2 Erangels. Maybe you just roll the dice on the first one. If you don't win it, take that secondary drop. There's no harm, no foul in it. No one's going to be super pissed, flooding the chat with, oh my goodness, like this team is just, what have they become? Like it's just play for the tournament play. I mean, you're wanting to reach that top 12 to get into that grand finals section. You don't want to be one of those bottom 4 teams that has to play against those challenger teams, because we saw last season.
Yeah.
We saw a lot of teams make upsets and come up into the, that premier finals tournament play. And they really did perform in my eyes. I mean, Zombie Boys is here now. And obviously, we saw him on the first page when it came to the scores and stuff like that. But that's a squad that has made drastic improvement over just Titan Series alone.
Yeah, Zombie Boys, definitely a big fan. And another team that I'm a big fan of that we saw like season 0, season 1 in the premiere, the Golden Eagles, right? And then they got knocked down to the Challenger. And now they're back in the premiere, right? So a lot of ups and downs. But week number 1, only 7 points in total. So hopefully they realize the opportunity they have here. And like we were chatting, week 1, that warm-up week. So I'm not going to hold it against too many of these teams. But if we see the same results today, all right, then I got free rank to hold it against them here, Enigma.
Yeah, and I think the hard part is too, we talk about that midpoint of the tournament. If you're having to do that through the second day, the mental reset's not really, I think, going to be too optional for these squads, because I mean, you're still in tournament play, you're still having to play this day out. It's not like after the Miramar today, hey, like we get to go back and look at the VODs. No, you got 2 other games to play after that. So really, in my eyes, a lot of these squads can really only have a mental reset after this second day of play. And this third day, I mean, if you're on the bottom 8, you're really going to have to start making the magic happen, because some of these teams, if it's like 4-1-2 Nomads, where they're soaking up 66 or whatever points they had, finishing first place, everyone else on the bottom half of the leaderboard is still in single-digit range. You're not in any comfortable spot to be moving up.
Yeah, so like besides the Nomads, 66 points, everybody else really does have a nice window to really come up. All it takes is one game. So talking about early game potential fights over here in Pachinki, getting stinky out here. We got Butterfly Effect and the Golden Eagles looking to square up. Looks like the Golden Eagles are going to be somewhat grouped up in the center. Follow Butterfly Effect on the outskirts for the time being.
He's got the nade pulled. Might go a bit of an early knock. Wait. I don't think you're supposed to do that. But he's hitting the headshot there, Dave. 1v1 situation. Doesn't win it. Nice peek from Skies. Opening up for the squad, but another player gets knocked. Everyone getting traded around the map, Dave. And I think it's a 2v2 situation at the center little 1 stack.
566 with the Uzi Scar combo and 455 with the Vector. Nice close range weapons, but Dark from Butterfly Effect across the way, putting in a lot of work with the UMP. Let's see what 66 can do. Now going to be pushing up the stairs. Look at this. 55 getting caught out there in the open, trying to provide the cover support for 66. And here comes Dark with the cleanups. Kubi, missing that window right there, but it all comes down to this. Only one more player alive for the Golden Eagles.
Yeah, he vaulted out. I think he got 1, but, no elimination points for Golden Eagles, and we're here, and of course, off screen. A little bit of a BM in the crates, but Dave, I mean, if you're one of these squads like Golden Eagle, I think the first week they were the squad that was winning this engagement, so something must have happened over the last week for Butterfly Effect. A good change for them, but unfortunately, these teams, Golden Eagles was that center sort of grouping. Butterfly Effect was a team that had to make that sort of envelopment close down onto them. And fortunately for them, they had the opening knocks onto Golden Eagles and were able to capitalize on their positioning around the squad.
Good for the Butterfly Effect team. Hopefully they can kind of carry on throughout the evening with that momentum. It always feels good to come into game number 1, first couple minutes, and just win a fight, win a fight. And to make it even better, they didn't lose anybody in the mix. So all players still going to be alive. They're going to have a couple points to go to boot. Great way to start week number 2. Looking over here, this is going to be Yesnaya. We got Mazexis and SBG. So 2 other teams awfully close. Now, Yesnaya is going to be right there on the edge of circle number 1. So both these teams have a lot of time to work with and really scout this out and plan their next move.
Yeah, I think for these squads too, Yesnaya is big enough where you're maybe not going to be taking that sort of 4v4 like we just saw. You're able to take your time and come into it, but someone that's not taking their time, Extreme Slayers picking up a little freebie on the Foops.
Yeah, we were just chatting in the pre-show. Foops, this homie, 4 games, but 600 damage on average.
Wow.
Yeah, that's massive. So for Foops to get taken out first here from the Nomads, that's definitely going to set them back here a couple pegs.
Yeah, I think that's a squad too where when they're 4 up, they are probably the most dominant squad in the lobby. Hands down in my eyes, especially after that first week of play. But when we see them lose a player early on in this first, 1 or 2 zone shifts, really kind of sets them back, puts them down a pedal of, hey, like we're going to need to play more conservative. And if you lose someone like Foops where, he's topping the damage charts and stuff like that, it's okay. Like we don't have like our main gunner, maybe the IGL is stressing a bit more. And that separates, the good from the great teams of being able to keep their play style while down a player, maybe even 2 players. Because we've seen, Loops and stuff like that. They've competed in this stuff before. We've seen them be a dominant force even as just a solo. So these players, the caliber, I see the improvement, but obviously there's still room for growth.
What about room for growth? SLR, one of those teams, I know you got your eye on them here this evening, but this is a team that has just been in the scene for the longest, and kind of like we were chatting with Golden Eagles, a lot of ups and downs, right? But after week number 1 of the Titan series last week, they're looking a lot better here. So maybe putting in a lot of work when it comes to trying to improve here. And well, this is the perfect time to do just that, as we're going to be looking at the Zombie Boys in school and kind of going back to Foops. I was looking at the map, and they were all separated, the Nomads. They were all separated in Gatka and Chopsticks, kind of just doing their own thing. So not exactly sure. Maybe it's overconfidence here in game number 1 to be playing that split apart. But we'll see what the Nomads can do with the trio, because they're still a force to be reckoned with. And even if they get taken out here early, Enigma, they have such a massive point lead from first to second and everybody else that they can afford, that one throwaway game.
Yeah, I mean, the throwaway game's nice, but if you're wanting to finish first and have that sort of point lead and maybe the confidence with the squad having a few roster changes and stuff like that, you're wanting to, not have these games fumble to just, oh my goodness, like the second place team is only 10 points behind. We need to make sure that they don't make it and stuff like that, or at least pass us, Because if you're coming out of the first week, 66 points, great start.
Yeah.
There's still obviously the option of you maybe dropping down out of that top 12. It's hard for me to see with the squad like 412 do it. But a lot of these squads, I think it was a lot more of maybe not the Nomads making a mistake towards Chopsticks and stuff like that, but maybe it was Extreme Slayers recognizing maybe through scrim play or VODs of, hey, this team takes their time rotating to center and they drop on this western side. So them being able to pick up that elimination, but oh man, I don't know what happened here, but Fate picking up a little bit of a freebie, Dave.
Yeah.
Teammates coming in, and now I think it's Bope on the back foot.
Teammates coming in, but Bope right here to provide that support. So Fate with the M4 DBS combo holding this one down. But look at this on the outskirts, deleted user pulling up with the Scar. So Bope, they're just getting picked apart left and right, and we're pulling up with the run over to start this engagement or to finish it. But Fate getting traded with the drop shot right there, Enigma.
That was getting a little bit too scary. I mean, I think it was Jarek had 2 there on the knock, 1 HP with the S12K, really showing the shotgun dominance we have in the meta right now. But thankfully for YKG, Excavation was there, being able to pick up the cleanups for him. But 4 free elimination points for them. Joey, I think, really being the key factor in that, getting that opening knock, communicating to his squad afterwards, hey, there's someone on this ridge. He's a solo. They ISO'd them out and ultimately allowed them to take a 2v4 engagement.
I love it when we see those runovers too. I mean,
Yeah.
it's just the best, man. It's one of the most satisfying things. Yeah, we want to see the gun skills, but if you could just get a run over,
The
why
splat.
not? Yeah, the splat.
noise, yeah, like-
you know, why not, man? So
On the
yeah,
windshield.
so YKG, they're gonna be free to rotate near Hospital and even South George. It's gonna be free and clear for the time being, as we did get that next circle shift. Zarky still in play. I know one of Hot Juke's wishes in life is to have a Zarky finish.
Yeah.
We might get it here in game number 1. Dauntless are going to be hovering around there, but we're going to get a nice little aerial view of all the teams just on the rotate now in their vehicles.
Yeah, and we're seeing it here. I mean, Super Laser Reflex realizing that, hey, you know, C4, all these other teams are kind of having the same idea as them. And the scary thing, I think, Dave, is with how good of gun skill these players have is when you're driving so close to someone, what's to say they don't just hit a tree, stop, and, you know, hit you with a beam out of the car?
Ooh.
A lot of these players, I think, don't really recognize the danger of being
Yeah.
so close to some of these, you know, other players in the lobby. But right now we see Butterfly Effect going for some little bit of Kobe's onto the Black Mamba squad, trying to take the engagement. But look at this. I mean, they look left to right, Dave.
Mhm.
There's 3 other teams looking at them.
Yeah, not only that, they had Poppy Tree Stay like right behind the tree, prone, tossing out some smokes, trying to block some sight lines in order for them to pull back to their teammates, and they were able to do so. So pretty clutch little micro play from them right there. And looks like Butterfly Effect are also going to be pulling back for the time being in this bowl. They don't want that smoke, and for good reason. You know, that they don't really need to take the fight right now, as we still have 14 teams in total alive, and that's a lot of teams. You know, we have a lot of play zone to still work with here.
Yeah, and I think if you're near this sort of center spot of the map, there's no way you're thinking, hey, you know, this is going to be a 4v4 engagement fight. No, this is going to be a 4v4, v5 other teams. But if you're a team like Zombie Boys, you're on the edge of the map against Passion Fruit.
It's going to be Passion Fruit. We got Crazy with the SK-12. Almost landing one right there, but Wancho with the DBS. And Crazy just kind of getting caught off guard here on their lonesome, but we do see the vehicles quickly making the approach right here, as it looks like HH24 was almost picked up, but not quite able to make it. Wancho, 1 HP, getting tagged right there with the M4 from downrange. So the Zombie Boys not appreciating the fight here. Looks like they're trying to save Crazy. I do see Tiggleton thrown between the boulders, though. So I got my eye on Tiggleton. Tiggleton did pop up over there in the back end with a little sneaky surprise attack here. So it's going back and forth between the Passion Fruits and Zombie Boys right now, Enigma.
Yeah, but I mean, one of the Zombie Boy players was actually able to make it across. And wait, that was it, actually.
That's
Passion
it?
Fruits eliminated. I'm not sure what happened here. I think these are the 2 squads, Dave, that drop at school. Maybe they were both looking for vehicles and kind of caught each other off guard. But Passion Fruit having the opening knock, prime position in my eyes, really maybe just faltering too much on a or6 off angle. Because, hey, I mean, he canceled the revive Juancho was getting. We thought he was going to get it off.
That was huge.
It took Tiggleton, you know, just maybe a few 2 seconds too many to really activate on that sort of prone off angle and get the trade knock for his squad.
Yeah. I mean, Tiggleton's still trying to activate the mobile skills as well, you know, transferring them from PC, so it makes sense. But Passion Fruits, I am looking forward to this team. I mean, HH24 back in the mix. I'm just a huge fan of this squad here this season, so we'll see what they can accomplish, as we are going to be looking at SLR. So Ace of Spades are across the way right over this little hill, but Ace of Spades only have a trio, so they're already going to be at the numbers disadvantage.
Yeah, but I mean, with Super Lazy Reflex, you really got to be careful of, if you don't know where Ace of Spades players are kind of set up, you might get caught off guard, but they're just going to hit the drive-by, Dave.
See ya.
Getting hacks out of the vehicle. So Ace of Spades, they were the 3-up. I like this position they took, holding this northern coastline, but SLR not afraid to take the engagement. So nice to see from them. We also see, of course, Mazex is towards this western side. I think they recognize it, but they might think it's Ace of Spades still. So SLR might be going into a little bit of the meat grinder right here, Dave.
Yes, sir. Trying to grind it up with the drive-by. Looks like Mazexis just pulled out of this compound. SLR are going to be backfilling, trying to take it up themselves. Almost getting knocked out right there. So we'll keep tabs on Ace of Spades, though. Like you said, we still got a duo in the water who might opt to maybe backstab SLR. But heads up play from SLR to make sure to get those vehicles behind those broken walls to keep those tires safe. I love watching these little tiny micro plays because it all adds up here.
Yeah, it all adds up. I mean, one piece at a time. They still have one player on this northern side, kind of playing spoiler for Mizexis, but we see now as well, just to the south, kind of holding the other two Mizexis players. I believe it's Valak and Inactive at the bunker. So Nate kind of making a bit more of a solo play here.
Yeah.
Might be biting off a bit more than he can chew.
Nate missing the bus, I guess.
Yeah.
Maybe smoking it up, trying to eat it on out of here.
Oh,
Uh-oh.
that's a
Flat
tree
tire?
there.
Uh-oh. Oh, here comes Nate.
Oh,
Juicing it.
the timing. Just gets out.
Next circle goes up as well. We can see on the top right-hand corner that now Mizexis are trying to relocate within the zone, and they're actually going to be wrapping around SLR, who are gassing up their vehicles right now. So Mizexis might actually be able to gatekeep SLR now based off of that rotation.
Yeah, but there's also, you know, a bunch of other teams in the lobby kind of towards that Severny side off on the edge of zone, having to make the same rotation SLR is going to have to make. So if Mizexis, you know, maybe overcomplicates things and leaves the bunker, they might get caught off guard, but thankfully for them, it looks like they're going to be kind of just chilling. Dauntless is just above them as well, maybe playing a bit more of a door stopper, so to speak, for them. But all these other teams, I mean, they're going to have to find a spot in zone. It is only stage 3, Dave, but I mean, hey, with mountain play like this, it's sometimes hard to even just get into the zone.
You got to elaborate. Door stopper, man. I love that
The
word.
door
stop. Yeah, what does that
The
mean?
door stopper. I mean, like, if the door opens for Mizexis, Dauntless is there to hold them back.
Oh, man, I love it. But talking about who's not loving it, Kubi, last one alive from Butterfly Effect. Oh, Skies as well, but really low. This is going to be Excuse, I believe. Looks like they were trying to defend their building for the time being. Looks like Excuse did send 3 off, so it looks like Butterfly Effect are going to be getting 1 in the mix. But this is going to be North Georgia pool. And it looks like all these teams are eyeballing this location right now. It's now Chronix looking for that revenge with the grenades, trying to toss that on the duo from Butterfly Effect. Chronix is in the building, in the front lines, not slowing down anytime soon. Both him and Kubi trying to cook these grenades, toss them through the smokes. Kubi taking a lot of damage right there, swapping on over to the SK-12. Meanwhile, Sky is going to be getting flushed out on the first story.
Yeah, I mean, he was kind of playing spoiler. Good little bait idea, but Excuse opted to clear the whole first floor out. Didn't, you know, cut any corners with that, so to speak. So 3v1 position now. Excuse has to kind of be careful. We see Nomads and Black Mamba starting to turn their eyes towards them, seeing if they can get a bit of that third-party action going. But Kubi now, I mean, 3v1 situation, we're going to have to see what he's made of.
Last grenade, too, so really just back against the wall. And Excuse they're working together as a team, all 3 of them moving up the stairs and clearing every single room. You love to see the teamwork right there. Kubi, I don't know if they have meds either. Okay, there we go. Gonna be going for that last ditch effort. 2 smokes, a shotgun, and a scar. So let's see the utility from Excuse here. They might be able to flush it out. If they had a Molotov, that would seal the deal. And there it is, the Molotov. Kubi is just roasting in the corner. And there you go. I mean, the clean. Oh, no.
Oh, wait a second.
Uh-oh. Smell something else burning here. But, I mean, just a clean push and the execution right there from Excuse. That was great.
Yeah, I mean, the molly they did in the back little room right where Matt sat, spread out into the opening, donated off those windows on that southern side towards the water. I mean, it was just textbook stuff. And Excuse, you know, they didn't even have to fire their bullets once on that last engagement. Really nice stuff to see from them. But, you know, if you're Butterfly Effect, you've gotten 6 eliminations in the match. I don't think that's, you know, anything too bad. You won your 4v4 engagement, but the placement points still aren't really coming to you.
Good call out, though. At least they get some points, right? At least they walk away game number 1 with some points in the pocket. So that should still help them. I mean, they still won the hot drop in Pachinki. So I think that confidence moving into game 2, game 3 should still be there if they can kind of just continue the direction they're going right now. But Ace of Spades, how are they still alive, man? This team has been just big chilling from the shorelines. They were able to pick up hacks, and now they're back up to a trio.
Yeah, I mean, no one's really decided to finish the engagements, finish their food, so to speak, but they are going to have SVG kind of in front of them. not turning their eyes just yet onto Ace, but I do see some vehicles just south here from SBG, you know, kind of trying to clear out Ace of Spades, but the zone shift is favorable towards him, Dave. It went on to this eastern side. All those teams that chose to slam North George now having to bite the bullet and rotate out of the city.
Yeah. I mean, I just feel it for all these teams because you can see on the top right-hand corner the circle, or at least a part of it. We did have a hard shift out there to the east. So all those teams that we saw in Georgia Pool, well, they gotta go on the opposite side, outside of their comfort buildings. So we're gonna see a lot of mayhem here. I'm curious that we're gonna see some vehicles trying to get the initial knocks with the vehicles once again. We always love to see that. But Extreme Slayers still 4 up here on the edge of the play zone. Really good position from them here. I'm curious if they're going to use it to maybe third-party SPG and Ace, who look like they're going to take a fight here very shortly.
Yeah, I mean, Ace is the team that has to move forward. They're the team that's kind of on the edge. Extreme Slayers is playing a bit of a spoiler, but it's not going to be either of those teams. It's going to be Mazexis opening up the fight on Ace of Spades. Down to 2 players inactive. Wait a second. Maybe looking the wrong way, but Mazexis still has their eyes on this. Nate stopped early. Might eat a nade for it, though. Just short, but the shots, Dave, coming in from Kiddo.
Yeah, shots coming in, and I believe a vehicle exploding on the side of Mazexis. So that's going to be a vehicle taken away, denied, if Mazexis look to push into the zone. But inactive from downtown with the 6 times. Trying to put in some shots on the Kiddo. Down range, going to be popping in the buggy. SPG, they got the high ground on this too. So Mazexis, man, they are just falling apart right now, being gatekept by not only Extreme Slayers but also SPG.
Yeah, and I don't think Ace Space realized he just stopped in front of, I think it was an Extreme Slayers member, but Inactive did find a bit of a foothold maybe in the zone, but they're down to just 2 players. YKG's on a shack, they can get the reset, and unfortunately just not recognizing that the solo is still there. Skaz picking up a bit of a free elimination point. And I mean, these squads, Dave, we talked about them being on the edge. Not feeling good right now.
Not feeling good. I mean, this zone shift just so massive when it comes to playing spoiler. I mean, we saw YKG going for those shack plays in the north now. This team, remember, they were by hospital. So talk about their rotates from them. They're still going to be alive down range, but for how long? Question here. They got a little dip to work with. C4 over and Enigma top right hand corner. I don't see where the zone went. All right, so in my mind, I'm thinking we got an opposite hardship.
Yeah,
you got a feel for these teams here this match. It is just non-stop mayhem. But Nate putting in some work over here.
Oh, 1v1. He hits the pre-fire, but only 2 shots connecting, Dave. Nice effort from him. I mean, he got 4 elimination points for his squad. Not too bad to say the least, but SPG now did pick up a few eliminations on the zone shift, but not without cost. They're down to just 2 players now, and YKG making the move up the mountain, Dave.
There they go. Here they go. Okay, they know there's going to be at least 1 player here. Looks like we got Joey and Fate with the drive-by pull-up. Joey with the Bison. Same thing with Fate, so both of them rocking the Bison here, pulling up the Bison. They're going to be flushing out too, but we also have Extreme Slayers right ahead of them.
Yeah, I think your favorite team, Dave, has got to be YKG right now. With all the card plays we're seeing, this is only the first match. I mean, I'm expecting more full sends, little ramp shots maybe. You know, I know on Miramar, they've got that track that goes around the map. They've had that in for years. And everyone, you know, as soon as they load up PUBG Mobile, they're saying, oh my goodness, we got to hit the ramp. We got to hit the loop-de-loop, you know, the circle. Got to do it all. So YKG, I think it's going to be your favorite team on the day, Dave. I'm calling them.
YKG already feeling good. They got 8 total points when it comes to those eliminations. They're going to be wrapping in the blue on the north. They might run past C4. They might straight up send it top of Black Mamba. Here comes the push. This is what you want to see. They're trying to run him over through the smokes. Deleted user popping out with the M4. Nice little pre-fire spray right there. Got another player behind the boulder, but no match for deleted users SK12.
Yeah,
They're just hunting them down. That's it. Black Mamba out.
I was feeling it. I'm like, you know, Black Mamba, maybe shoot the buggy tires out, but they made it up the ridge. No shots coming down range. They actually went in their own vehicles. So deleted user recognizing that just slams into one of the cars, takes the 1v1 and wins it of all things. So great stuff to see from them. And now, unfortunately, Extreme Slayers, they were the team that rotated from the north, having to take a fight with the Zombie Boys.
Yeah, no hesitation either from YKG on that pull-up, and that just goes to show you, like, the experience. And let me remind you, new IGL this season as well. So new IGL really pulling out all the stops here. Extreme Slayers still going to be up. Yuya is going to be bleeding on out, but it looks like their squad may able to toss the smoke, maybe even get the revive. We got Trick on the hilltop playing the Guardian Angel role. Essentially, it looks like Baton out there as well. So looking at the teams, best positions, I can't say any of these teams are really feeling it. Maybe the Zombie Boys just because they got this shack, but this shack is dead center, and everybody's going to be looking at it.
Yeah, and I mean, you don't have good windows to peek from. In my eyes, it'd be where Excuses spot is, but the problem is, you're next to YKG. This squad's got 14 elimination points, pulling in to make it more right now, Dave.
Look at 200 bullets in reserve from Joey with the Bison, by the way. They are locked and loaded, ready to go. Pre-firing through the smokes, back and forth, and there goes the Excuse. But Crow from behind. Trying to play spoiler. Looks like Joey did catch the snake out there, right? Last one alive from the Nomads. I feel like they're going to send someone over there to investigate. But over here, the hilltop battle. Extreme Slayers. Hayuya was picked up. Now going to be pulling up with the UMP. Joey and the Bison. Trying to go for those last-minute clutch plays. But Robert GG with the DBS putting in work. Playing King of the Hill right now.
Yeah, and this is the squad that had that knocked player at the start of the zone shift, but no one else was putting pressure onto him, getting the reset, and now being able to third-party the YKG fight. YKG lost no players on that engagement with, I believe it was C4 and that sort of stuff. So them being able to recognize, hey, we've got this 5-second window of pulling behind YKG and cleaning house. This is it. So I love to see from Extreme Slayers, but
look at this.
User, I don't know.
Is it the vehicle smoking?
Oh,
he spotted him. Peeking him through the window with the 2-tap to take out YKG, but YKG, a ton of eliminations here this game in the third place, so they are going to be feeling good. Here comes Extreme Slayers, looking to get Game 1's winner chicken dinner, but it is going to be the Zombie Boys. Guaranteed at least a second place. They're going to be in the hard cover. Can they defend right now?
Yeah, I mean,
2v4.
I can't discredit Zombie Boys, Dave. They've got 7 elims. You've got 2 of the top fraggers on the day right now on their squad, Julio and Ember Boy alive. And the zone shift favors them. So it's a matter of can they get these knocks without getting traded out. So we'll have to wait and see because Extreme Slayers now making the move.
Extreme Slayers looking to send 2 in a vehicle to just pull up. Julio will be recognizing that one. Remix with the grenades. You got to keep the grenades out of Remix's hands because my dude knows how to hit them shots. Going to be pulling up here. Taking some damage themselves because Julio in the bunker right now trying to make their last stance, but there goes Remix in the feed with the grenade and now the heal, so it's up to Ember Boy. 3 grenades to go. Hayuya with the peek right there from the window and then the follow-up grenade to just seal the deal. Zombie Boy, second place, got to give it to him, but winner, chicken dinner. Extreme Slayers here in game number 1.
Yeah, I mean, they're making me eat my words, so to speak. I mean, they heard me talking smack about that being in that bottom half of the leaderboard. But this game, I mean, even with YKG being such a dominant force in the lobby, they're showing that, hey, we're still able to play our game. We weren't near YKG at the start of the match. Maybe that's why YKG was able to pick up so many elimination points. But with Extreme Slayers making that last-second rotation around 5th, 6th, 7th zone to fight YKG really was the game-winning play in my eyes for him.
Yeah, in Extreme Slayers, they only had 12 points after 4 games from week number 1, so that was massive. Let's bring back in reflections here. I'm always curious, Crow. Remember Crow from the Nomads? Did he hold up YKG and kind of take up their attention? And then while they were looking over there, that's when Extreme Slayers kind of pounced there. Pretty interesting little play, like you said there, Enigma.
Yeah, I mean,
a lot of great things.
Yeah, for the most part, Taylor, I mean, Crow, maybe he was just being a little thorn in the side for him, but I mean, it's all about that 1 or 2 second window they have. YKG, we saw all of them turn instantly. Hey, make sure none of us get knocked, so to speak, but Extreme Slayers then being able to drive in. And we saw one YKG member actually responded to it by getting in a vehicle, but just a little bit too slow in my eyes.
A little bit too slow, but not too slow at all. I mean, in terms of our game winners, right, Extreme Slayers, that is a big win. That is a massive win for them, given the fact that they were within that 9th through 16th placing. Zombie Boys, who had a great week one. You know, I think they were a bit understated. They weren't necessarily the hypest team. They weren't didn't have the biggest narrative. Last week finishing in 6th place, but now getting first place map 1, that's a big statement. We go through our replays, but the big talking point is YKG, and the reason why. YKG gets 3rd place, 16 eliminations, and Dave, to put that into perspective, last week, total eliminations out of all 4 maps, they were sitting at 20, right? This week, game 1, they get 16 in game 1 already, so that is a massive improvement. What do you owe the success to?
Listen, shout out to the team. Like we were talking about, this was kind of the start of their terror here on game number 1. But shout out to the team because now Fate is coming in this season as the IGL. And I want to point out, like, these zones were all over the place for YKG. So they were just rotating nonstop. Meanwhile, also taking the fights. So really, really impressed by their skills here this game.
I was as well. Bope had an opportunity to shut that down early on. They get into that fight, that replay we just saw a little bit earlier, Enigma. Bope gets caught with their pants down, brother. Like, they got one player who's literally, and you quoted right, a free elimination. He's just standing out in the open. Another one ends up being a solo. He gets knocked. The other 2 are finished off shortly after. YKG, a flawless win over Bope. What's going on with those guys?
I think it's a lot of just a reactive play difference. I mean, when you get the information and absorb that sort of stuff. I mean, YKG Joey, we saw him instantly took the 1v1 engagement knowing, hey, if I win this squad is going to be caught with their pants down, not knowing exactly what to do. The Black Mamba players and stuff like that. I mean, all these teams just really, they get an opening knock and YKG is able to respond 10 times faster than all these other squads.
Even watching the replays, Dave, watching YKG pre-fire through the smoke. It's crazy because, you know, you go back to week 1 last week, and I look at Extreme Slayers as a great example. I thought they were too aggressive. They ended up paying for it. YKG, the epitome, the definition of aggression, but never punished once, it seems, up until, of course, 3rd place. But, I mean, you could have thought that could have happened a lot earlier.
Yeah, and really cool right there that we did see the solo from YKG get taken out in the vehicle while they were hiding, because to me that shows that Extreme Slayers are just paying attention to the elimination feed as well, and they recognized, okay, YKG, they're not wiped out the lobby yet. We still have one more kind of in this area, and that right there is a skill all in its own right.
7 eliminations, not bad for Extreme Slayers. Decent damage done. A victory nonetheless has to feel good, especially given the fact that they had a bit of a weaker week number 1. Chico leading the charge with 6 elims by himself. Fate there, as you mentioned, Dave, the new IGL for this roster. You need a strong IGL if you want to have a successful team, and Fate could very well be the keys needed for the success of YKG, who, you know, kind of been hit or miss at times. Last week, though, was relatively decent, I would have to say. We look at our match results. Super Lazy Reflex up there at the top, getting the most points, it seems, but maybe not the case. Either way, though, for me, Enigma, I want to go back all the way to the beginning. Butterfly Effect versus the Golden Eagles, and that's Butterfly Effect's 2nd time facing off against Golden Eagles, the 2nd time they get a flawless win. Golden Eagles refuse to change their drop spot, refuse to change their initial, and they get punished in back-to-back weeks.
Yeah, I think if it comes down to it, Golden Eagles either recognizes that they're not going to be that team that's, hey, you know, maybe Erangel's not it, or they really just have that stubborn mindset of maybe they're going to win that fight. But if you're the other squad, I think you just take the 4 free elimination points. That's your drop spot right now.
That is. Well, it is their drop spot without question. Again, if you're losing it, it's up to the other team who's losing to make the change, not the team that's winning. Butterfly Effect, they're just fine. Dave, we take a look at the correct match results. Extreme Slayers in first with 21 points. YKG, though, 21 themselves, right? So they were a big winner alongside that of Extreme Slayers.
Yeah, YKG, massive come up when it comes to the overall. And with Nomads only having 5 points, I know we were kind of talking about their massive point lead in the pre-show, but honestly, if they're not consistent with getting more than 5 points per game, and we got other teams that were behind them on the hunt getting 20-point matches, that lead, it's already going to be closed here after only one match.
I think it's within 10 points, Dave. Honestly, after that 21-point game for YKG, we look at our overall, and it is going to be 11 points. So very, very close indeed. 412, or excuse me, Nomads last week, Enigma, I felt kind of, rested on their laurels, especially after that map number 4. The reason why they kept the lead is because of a strong game 1, because of a strong game 2 and game 3. But if they start falling off now, there's plenty of other opportunities for teams like YKG, Dauntless, Zombie Boys, Extreme Slayers to catch up to them.
Yeah, and the scary thing is just YKG. I mean, Jukes and I had the pleasure of casting PMCO and stuff like that. It was the same exact situation. Nomads was in the lead off the start, and YKG just has one day where it's just, hey, we're going to drop 20-point games 3 out of the 4 games and just start closing that gap and even pass you up. So if you're some of these squads, I'd really be worried about people getting into that sort of groove and getting their momentum going strong.
Ace of Spades there in 10th place. They dropped down. They were 1 through 9 starting the day. They were in 7th place. Now down there to 10th. So a team that needs to start stepping it up a bit before they start falling down even more. It's not something that they obviously want for the rest of the 9 through 16 at the start of the day, while they remain consistent. I think Extreme Slayers is the only team to break out of the 9 through 16 spot after a wonderful game number 1 win. So now we head into map number 2, and that's going to be Miramar, a map that Nomads, they ended up taking in style, 14 eliminations last week, Dave. But game 1 looked a bit rocky for them. How are we thinking their chances are going to be for map 2?
Keep Foops alive, right? Don't let Foops die early game, and show up in that mid to late game with the 4 people still rocking and rolling, and they should be looking pretty good here on their best map.
Hopefully they will be. Passion Fruit, another team, Enigma, that actually was the pick for the prediction, right, whenever it came to Dave's point of view. Yeah. They did really good last week on this map. They got number 5, or 5th place, excuse me. They had 6 eliminations. That was the time that they kind of stepped it up a bit. But granted, they're one of the teams down there, 9 through 16. Passion Fruit, do you think they got map 2? Is it going to be theirs?
I mean, it might be. They did have the gears turning the first week, but the second week, I mean, we just saw with the Zombie Boys engagement, match 1 wasn't really turning at all. So hopefully they're able to turn up, because right now, I mean, after this match, Reflections, this is going to be the halfway point of the tournament. So if you're not in that top 8, I would really be stressing right now coming into this latter half of the tournament.
I would think so, because next week is last week to get bonus points, Dave, and those bonus points do matter. Granted, they haven't had the biggest impact going into finals, but there's still something to discuss, and something really big to discuss. C4, okay, yeah, they don't really do well in regular season, but when it comes to finals, they do well. That's a narrative in the future. But C4, what's going on with those boys?
I think it's a narrative now. Great point, by the way, because talking to Psycho, they said that they're not worried at all here when it comes to these qualifications, because the finals is where it matters, and we've seen them 3 times now prove that that's where they thrive. So when it comes to C4, of course, I would like to see them be performing more, but when you have a player from the team telling me directly, like, listen, we're just looking at the finals, baby, I'm still a believer of C4.
I love that. Looking at the finals, that's their goal. I mean, at the end of the day, that's where you qualify, right? Whenever it comes to the PMSL, that's where you earn your money. That's where you earn your keep. So that's what really matters. And regular season is still very much so important, but not as important as those finals. C4, they've got their eye on the prize, and they are still the champions no matter how bad they do throughout the 4 games, week 1, 2, and 3. It's a matter of how well they do during the finals. Quick predictions, though. Enigma, let's start with you this time around, because it started with Dave before. Who you going with for map number 2?
Switching it up from last week and this week, we're going with Mazexis on Miramar.
Wow. Mazexis. Okay, so from 10th place. Now, actually, I struggle to call you out, because I did that last week with Super Lazy Reflex. I was like, man, Super Lazy Reflex, map 1, they really struggled. Map 2, map 3, they didn't look that strong. And then all of a sudden, they go into Erangel, map 4, they dominate it, they win. So it's hard to challenge the wizard himself, Enigma. So, okay, you're going to go Mazexis. Now, Dave, are you going to be so bold? Are you going to take a safe route?
Hey, listen, I said Passion Fruit game number 1, and I'm sticking with Passion Fruit game number 2. I'm trying to give them the Mustache Dave buff here, because I want to see this team start kind of coming together, gelling together, and showing up here, because we got HH24. I'm a huge fan. This player goes way back to like when I started in PUBG Mobile. So kind of want to see them just kind of start picking up that steam here and show up here in the Titan series.
Okay, fair enough. As far as I go, I think I'm going to go Zombie Boys, believe it or not. Zombie Boys showed me a lot in map number 1, and I think they're a team that definitely loves when they start off strong, they get the confidence. At one point they were a younger roster. They were a team that was just entering in the Titan series, and I really have seen a dramatic improvement from that team that was scared to take the shot to the team that just, of course, gets second place in map number 1. So Zombie Boys is going to be my roster. However, there is a caveat. Zombie Boys still my pick, regardless. But they do have to worry about Nomads, who probably aren't happy, right, with that game number 1. They're not happy with their lead potentially, going to the wayside Enigma. 11 points. That's not a big gap. They could very well be in second, third place after map number 2 if they're not careful.
Yeah, no, I mean, all of it's going to come down to, can he keep Foops alive? I mean, Dave said it perfectly of just, we need to keep 4 up. I think that squad, excels when they're 4 players alive. The team synergy, even if they lose a player, maybe 5th, 6th zone, I think that's late enough for them to still be in that groove. But if you're losing a player first zone, second zone, a lot of these teams have that issue of, hey, we need to change up the game plan. We need to play more conservative. When in actuality, if they just played their game, they would be making massive strides, even as a 3-man.
Well, all right, keep Foops alive. That's the strategy. But hey, if that's your only strategy, well, that's it's one thing to defeat. You defeat them, and then all of a sudden now they're gone, and that's maybe why they didn't do as well whenever it came to map number 1. Regardless, though, map 2, Miramar. This is where Nomads dominated. Will they be able to do it in week 2? We're about to find out. Without further ado, let's go ahead and send it. Okay, Enigma, Dave, take it away.
Yes, sir. Game number 2, Miramar. Keep the Foops alive here this game for the Nomads. You'll love to see it. So YKG, massive game for them. Same thing with Extreme Slayers. We just don't see it as much as YKG on the overall because Extreme Slayers, they were on that second page. Now they're on the first page, but they're not within striking range when it comes to first quite yet. But if they have another massive come up, heck yeah, Enigma, they're going to be right there.
Yeah, and I mean, I can't discredit Zombie Boys. They were that team that finished second place. I believe they had 7 elimination points, so good points from them overall. It's just, of course, you're going to get a bit shouted out by the Extreme Slayers and YKG numbers they're putting up. But Zombie Boys, I want to make note of them, Dave, because we were looking at the match report coming out of that first match, and a Zombie Boys player was actually top damage in the lobby. I believe it was 845 total. So 800 damage, in a game where you're down to 2 players in that 5th, 6th zone. YKG's dropping double-digit eliminations, still finding the damage and the numbers for your squad. So I like seeing it out of them because that was a squad. We'll ring the bell as much as we want about, this was a little bit too passive a team coming out of challengers and stuff like that, moving up into Premier, but now really finding their sort of stride in this tournament play.
Yeah, and from game number 1, just kind of looking at them, I like that when things don't go their way. Oh, wow. First of all, I've never seen that skin, and I really love it.
Sick.
Yeah, I like that a lot. But when things don't go their way, they kind of go back to their roots, and they look for the shack, the shack in the zone, and just hold it down. And honestly, I'm a fan, That's how I became a fan of Zombie Boys, with these shack plays and getting these placement points. So game number 1, looking and feeling good, but they can't be feeling as good as SLR right now with these monster truck skins. I mean, that's feeling maximum potential.
Yeah, SLR, the skins were always the thing that pros could never stay away from. We all wanted a specific skin. Now the outfits is whatever for most people, but now, I mean, the vehicle skins with what they've added, Dave, some of them are badass. I'll be honest, some of them are absolutely sick. And now when, it has wings on and stuff like that, but it glows. It has, a trail, that sort of stuff. I feel like I'm in the future or something with that.
Dude, fine $50, by the way, for saying badass. So you'll expect that in the email.
Wow.
I guess I just got fined too. Well, whatever.
Damn.
We'll take it.
We'll bite the
We're
bullet.
both fine.
We'll bite the bullet. Telling us right
So
now.
early game engagements, though, SLR, Dauntless, and El Pozo, they might get into a little skirmish over there. Looking around, we might see the Nomads, Excuse, and Bope clash in a couple of minutes when they decide to rotate into circle number 1. But let me ask you this. SLR versus Dauntless, El Pozo. Give me the hot take, man. Who survives this fight?
SLR.
Is there a winner?
I'm biased. It's going to be SLR. They're going to come in. They're going to catch one, maybe rotating. They know where the rest of the team's at because that's the only vehicle spawn at El Pozo if you're watching the drop. And then you just clean house. I mean, after that. But the issue is, Dave, your team on the north side, Zombie Boys, might be able to be in range to kind of hear if there's an engagement that goes down. If you're kind of doing that sort of VOD review too, if you know both of these teams kind of like dropping El Pozo, maybe they'll be able to contest you from coming into zone. So interested to see how that'll go. But for the most part, Dave, it seems like this match is going to be a little bit slower compared to the first week and the first day or the first game for today.
I would love to see a Zombie Boys third party once when they start to get those shots, and depending on the VOD review, like you said. But then to make like the situation even worse, if YKG roll up on top of Zombie Boys, listen, I just want chaos. All right, that's the truth. But we'll see. We'll see. Ace of Spades. It looks like they got all their team members in the lobby now, so we'll keep tabs on them here when they are going to be 4 up. Looks like XZZ is getting caught out here when they're trying to group back up with their squad mates in El Pozo. A little smoke action down here. Maybe they were swapping vehicles. Maybe Orsic popped a tire because I did see the car out there in the open. But XZZ in the trusted and true bus here, the tank of Miramar.
Yeah, my favorite vehicle. But if you're a Orsic, I'd kind of be scared because it's not just XZZ now. It's the rest of SLR pulling up. And I mean, it's really just you here. Luckily, didn't get found, but YKG.
Yeah, YKG pulling up onto the Zombie Boys. So the Zombie Boys all over the place. I mean, Orsic, yeah, we see the bush there. Maybe they can go for the makeshift ghillie. But the Zombie Boys, a little too far separated here in early game. And, well, other teams are taking advantage of that.
Yeah, and I'd be a little bit scared. You're seeing right off the start of the match, YKG of all teams getting another elimination point on the day. And I made note of it right before the match. You know, hey, this squad's the type of team where they could be dropping double-digit elimination matches every single game today. So I'm interested to see if they're able to keep tried and true to that. But we're going to see. I'm not sure what happened here, Dave, but Bond kind of just vibing in a little shack, little trailer park.
Nice spot to hang out.
Got a breeze. Got the windows open.
The Miramar breeze, you know? So little sand.
The dry heat.
Windows, dry heat.
Yeah. Right in your eyes.
I believe maybe Psycho is in a vehicle downrange. Maybe Bond's waiting for the Uber scoop up. Meanwhile, JP and Payne are going to be playing together. So a little 2-2 split action going on right now. Hopefully Bond can get scooped up as now a lot of these players are going to be in vehicles looking to find a position to call home in circle number 1 and 2.
Yeah, I think the issue right now for these teams is going to be just finding a spot you're comfortable with. I mean, if you land Picada, we already see, I believe it's Golden Eagles up top already in front of you. A lot of these squads are going to just opt to take a center position early because anything around the San Martin, Hacienda area, I mean, it's just a death trap. The mountain here as well just does not play favor and does not play favorites to teams that rotate late. But
yeah,
skies though. 1v1 situation, Dave.
1v1 as this giant cliffside is going to be separated 44 from their squad mates over here. The Golden Eagles looking for the caca from above, and Skies in the corner actually going to be connected on as well, but Scooby Snacks in the monster truck will be pulling up here. Scooby Snacks has 2 of them, 2 grenades that is, trying to toss it in the direction. UMP pre-fire right there. 66 taking a couple bullets to the dome. But 55 in the front lines right now, trying to avoid the sight lines of Dark's M249, the squad wiper, as it's going to be just ripping the bullets out there, the 5.56, and that definitely hurts. Now it's up to 66. Pull out the clutch card here. I think we just send it. I think we send it. Yeah.
You got to go for it.
Oh, my goodness. Payne with the M249 from behind as well. Everybody's got the squad wiper here. Bond as well, but Dark. Let's see what we can do here. Oh, Dark getting connected on, and 66 looking to clean up house here on Butterfly Effect.
Hey, you wanted him to send it, and that's exactly what he did. Clutching it up for the squad, but unfortunately, it's just C4, the team that likes playing this third-party style, picking up a few freebie elimination points. So that's going to be 2 squads out. They did pick up a few eliminations, 2 and 3, we could see on the bottom right, but C4, I mean, now reaping the rewards, and they've got 8 players here. They could all loot. Find, that 6x you want, that nice skin maybe you like
Swap
using,
shop.
but I mean, 8 bodies here. I mean, I'm expecting a bunch of utility coming out from the squad later on.
Not only that, what is everybody, depending on their preference, right? But is everybody going to be able to get an M249 possibly here? Like, just imagine a whole team of C4 rocking an M249 as like a secondary, that would be
Well, YKG
insane.
was doing the Bison idea
Game 1,
with that.
yeah.
So,
that was interesting.
Game 2,
What are your thoughts on that weapon, by the way? Let me ask
okay,
you.
so that gun back in the day used to be horrendous. I'll be honest. And then there was a few months after its release where they're like, hey, we're going to give it a small little buff. And players like Sixless and stuff like that, they used to use the weapon in a way where it's almost like a VSS. You throw a suppressor on it, you have a 50-round mag instead of 20, and you're able to throw a 6x on it. So in my eyes, it's a good gun if you're trying to play quiet, try to catch people off guard with off angles and stuff like that. But we're seeing just now, people are using it close range. So maybe it does work. There's a lot of pre-fire going on with it. If you hit the headshots, it might be good.
Yeah.
But in my eyes, it's still going to be a little too weak for me to use.
Well, I guess kind of to add to that, they have the pull-up buff, and what I mean by that is they're pulling up in vehicles just full-on gassed out, and the surprise factor with the lean out the passengers with the Bison. Maybe that's the secret to unlock the
secret
potential.
sauce.
The secret sauce, yeah. So, well, C4. Big chillin', nice replays by the way. Love the Titan series. Every season just improves when it comes to like, the animations, the graphics, and my mustache gets thicker. So it's just all around great stuff. But C4, great position when it comes to this circle now.
Yeah, and I mean, the position itself, we are only in stage 2 of the map, so maybe it won't play too hard of a factor in it. But some of these maps where, there's a huge mountain in play, or there's just that one compound in the center of the field and you can kind of just rain terror, if you get a bit of that zone love later on, it can really reap rewards. So I'm interested to see if that engagement was only just for those 3 elimination points they snagged, or if it's also going to be the game-ending spot.
Might be. It might be. I feel like you're rubbing the crystal ball right now. And you're kind of letting us know that's going to end on C4. So I'm making note of that. You've been making notes all night. I'm making note of that right there. So we'll see if you got the crystal ball. If so, I'm going to have to ask you a couple questions later because I need some
Taylor, maybe he was onto something. Wizard Enigma. So you got the mustache. Maybe I get like the full beard going and then like the old hat, like the witch hat,
I respect it.
I'll get a staff too or something, put a little jewel on top of it. A little chicken maybe, like fried chicken. And that'll be it.
Let us know in the chat. Enigma cosplay 2024. All right. But getting back into the action here, now that picture's in my mind. I saw Foopsman in the elimination feed. Looks like they are going to be clashing with Bope. And Bope, one of those teams that we were chatting about, really need to start picking up the slack here when it comes to day number 2. You got to feel for them when they are going to be right in the crosshairs of the Nomads, who are looking for that comeback game here after only getting 5 points in game number 1.
Yeah, and one thing I like to make note of real quick is with the Nomads position, they are the ones with the zone to their back. They're not the ones that have the blue zone riding them. They have to play pressure. They have to make moves. They can kind of just wait and see what Boat does. They can choose whether to take the engagement or not. And I can look at the map. This is the only other team near him. So them taking shots right now, it's not going to be like the first match where you're going to see 3, 4 different teams pull up and start taking pod shots at you. You're able to start almost following them like a pack of wolves and kind of just go for it. So I think that's kind of what we're seeing right now. We are seeing Bope, though, opt to kind of rotate on the edge, try to get away from recognizing maybe that, hey, this team's looking to fight and we don't want any part of it.
Yeah, I don't know. To me, that shows you their confidence levels, though, as well. I know they're going to be down 1, but at the same time, you made a great point. Like, that was a clean fight between the 2 different squads. So that could have been a prime opportunity to try to get some good shots in and practice your team fights, all in all, without really having that third-party potential. So we'll see, though. That's just my take, as we are going to be looking over here at Black Mamba, trying to avoid the grenades.
Oh.
Oh, wow, that was a long throw. But Ace of Spades are in the area. But it looks like Yokai by themselves here? Question mark. Interesting play.
Yeah, and I mean, Ace of Spades, they're kind of in a little bit of a sketch position in my eyes because if Yokai gets knocked, Black
Yeah.
Mamba, all 4 players are basically on top of him. They take one vehicle, they send it over the ridge, and they get the elimination point. While the rest of Ace of Spades is, I mean, completely spread out. Kiddo's all the way down on the ridge line here, but thankfully for them, none of them really giving an opening. But we're hearing the shots come down, and it's actually going to be, I believe, Yokai taking the shots, so they know he's there now. Interested to see if Ace of Spades really chooses to take this engagement or maybe just back up to the compound and see how the zone shift ends up.
Yeah, and shout out to Yokai, the solo scaring off Black Mamba, who was 4 up, and now Kiddo,
Wow.
you know, getting some nice damage in, but Yokai putting in the work. So you gotta feel for Black Mamba when they're gonna go back and watch the VOD and realize there was only one player in this bowl, and they were able to scare them off of, in my mind, kind of an easy pick here. I know those bowls are very challenging, but Fate from YKG catching a couple bullets to the dome here. That's going to be Bope. We were chatting about them on their wide rotate, avoiding the fight from the Nomads earlier on. Let's see what deleted user can do here. Going to be tossing a fadeaway grenade. Joey also trying to provide the support. Jericho in the compound trying to make up their mind. Do I go for the revive or do I stand my ground? Well, guess what? Joey with the UMP. Doesn't even matter, man. Trying to flush him out here, Enigma.
Yeah, I mean, it's a 1v1 situation. Super does have the nade pulled, but YKG right now, I mean, they kind of have the prime position. We're seeing the second player as well come off the mountain. Might actually just leave Joey for the 1v1. I'm not too sure if that's the right play. No, he actually is going to slam. It's going to be a 2v1 engagement inside the building, Dave. UMP versus, I believe that's an M7.
Supra's going for it. You hear the doors opening. You gotta, the nerves, right?
Got it off.
You got it off, but Joey with the pre-fire through the doorway with the UMP and the swap in the M4 here, letting it all rip. But Joey, the last one alive right now, the 1v1. Supra going for another pickup. This could be Joey's window of opportunity to get the final blow here before their teammates bleed out.
Oh.
One more shot, Joey. Oh, Joey with the final shot right there, coming down to the wire. There goes Bope Esports, and just in time to trying to get the pickup on a couple of their teammates here.
Yeah, and I mean, 2v1 situation. Unfortunately for Supra, he wasn't able to get both Joey and deleted user on that sort of doorway peak. But one thing I'd like to note that was a big spoiler for Joey in this 1v1 fight earlier on was that door is metal. You can't shoot it down. And Supra being able to hide behind it, not getting shot when he was 1 HP, really opened it up for himself and taking that 1v1 engagement. Because before Joey healed, he was 1 HP. If he opted to push the door and take the engagement, I mean, maybe we could have seen it turn out differently. But YKG, unfortunately, losing 2 players in that engagement, but picking up 4 eliminations.
So it goes back to, we were chatting about Bope. Should they have taken the fight with Nomads earlier on? Or was the rotate the play, you know?
I think it's the rotation was the play. Unfortunately, it's just you're rotating towards YKG. And you never know if it's YKG sort of thing, you know. Maybe you got your own little crystal ball you rub or 8-ball saying, hey, should we go this way or that way? But YKG, they were a dominant force that landed on the northwest side of the map. I'd still assume, in my eyes at least, that you need to start playing spoilers towards them, or at least avoiding them if you don't want those early game engagements.
And one thing I want to note, now that Joey's not the IGL, I feel like we're seeing a lot more action from Joey, you know, getting involved in these fights a lot more. So we'll get back to that because this is a huge fight right now between the Nomads and Extreme Slayers. Extreme Slayers game 1, 20 points. So they're going to be feeling really good here as Trick getting a nice shot from downtown. I don't even know if they are aware of Trick's position yet. Hoopsman across the way, really low. But Crow and Baton just in the thick of it right now. Remix, the Grenade Master, gonna be tossing a Molotov, burning them alive here. Remix has the laser arm. I'm telling you, I've seen so many highlight plays from Remix and their ability to use utility I love Remix when it comes to that. It's just a
That
player
just-
on another level.
Utility just separates a good from a great player because it's not him. You know, they had an opening knock on the player on the ridge. He didn't opt to push. He opted, hey, you know, let's just throw a nade, maybe a molly, getting the elimination point themselves. But unfortunately, you know, one squad has to be losing players if another squad's getting eliminations. 4-1-2 now, down to just 2 players. And this was a squad that I was feeling good. They were hunting down Pope. They got a, I believe YKG knocked one just a bit after that. They didn't get there. Oh my! Wait a second. Jukes would be going crazy right now. That's all I'm saying. Valak with the headshot out of the whip. So Mazexis, I mean, if I'm Valak, I gotta be pulling up on this. Gotta go for the thirst.
Looks like Foopsman is going to be getting picked up here, so the reset, the heal. Valak's still going to be on the rooftop right now with 8 times, just zooming on in. Might opt to pop the buggy tires.
Oh.
Foopsman getting some nice window of opportunity to get the heal off because we have a third party, if I'm not mistaken, from the Hilltops.
I think it's either Extreme Slayers or Passion Fruit to their west, but right now, I mean, the zone shift's about to close. It does end up the mountain from them. Thankfully, Mazexis barely has to move into the zone, but a lot of these teams now, I mean, you're going to be playing a crevice or a canyon right below another team, so
yeah,
if you have the vehicles, I think they're going to be worth its weight in gold if you're able to kind of position it and use it as hard cover.
Yeah, 13 teams still alive. We got Passion Fruits dead center for the most part. Mazexis trying to gatekeep the duo from the Nomads. C4 still 4 strong down there in the south as well. And, well, it's going to be all-out mayhem as a lot of teams are going to be opting to just send it into San Martin, try to get that hard cover that's just on the tip of the northern shift of the zone. Excuse one of the teams right now trying to stand their ground up against Ace of Spades. Kiddo. Nice Molotov to stop the push right there.
Yeah, I'm a little concerned, though, because this looks like a repeat of Game 1. I believe they're the team that was holding a split at North George and unfortunately lost the player early on in the engagement, allowing the other team to rotate in. I believe it was Nomads, actually. So hopefully Excuse doesn't make the same mistake. I believe they're split somewhere
they're
else
Kai
in
here.
San Martin. So if I'm Kai, I'd almost be looking to smoke and try to just book it across the street. This engagement with Ace of Spades is not one you're wanting to take.
Yeah, it looks like Matt and Sway just said, hey, Kai, you do you. You know, try to take him out. You got him, champ. But now Ace of Spades, a full squad looking to push up and flush out Kai. Kai has a couple of grenades. Oh, but the UMP right there. Kai getting one of the players knocked down, but the numbers advantage from Ace of Spades. Just too strong right there.
Yeah.
So shout out to Kai, though, for at least attempting to have that last stance. And you know what? Maybe Kai's sacrifice allowed their duo to rotate, you know, to safety as well. So.
Well, they're not close anymore, so I think they must have gone deeper, or maybe they went to that eastern side of zone. But right now, I mean, we're seeing a lot of these solo players. I think it's just a straight up 1v1 here.
Yeah.
Dave.
On the
He
edge,
doesn't know.
too.
Oh, but his teammates are pulling up. Unknown and Poppy Triste. Maybe they did see him. They haven't really looked just yet. He's going for it, Dave. Headshot.
Yeah.
Oh!
Interesting right there. The solo from the Nomads, instead of just snaking it right there, opting to try to get one more elimination, still with 13 teams alive here. So now down to 12 after they got taken out. But Mazexis in the foothills, they got Passion Fruits a little higher up from their current position. They got Black Mamba to the south and also C4. So all the different dips and dives and levels of elevation make for such an interesting situation for a lot of these teams when it comes to just playing awfully close to each other here, but also not having sight lines.
Yeah, and I'm kind of concerned with C4's position, especially right now. We see the zone shifted north. C4 wasn't really playing that sort of pressure on that southern side. They had the elevation. They had the kills early on and the position, but unfortunately not really getting any eliminations on the Black Mamba. It looks like now they're starting to put pressure down. But in my eyes, I think it's a little bit too late. There's too many teams in front of you to really be making this sort of play.
Extreme Slayers, honestly, the gatekeepers, they are in the circle, so they're just going to be looking at all these teams now just fighting tooth and nail going to be trying to backstab each other. Zexus is going to be the first team in the front lines to actually make it into the circle. Well, you called it. They got so many squads in the south right behind them who are going to be looking to rotate in the same manner. So that's why we see those the smokes right behind inactive, creating that soft cover for the time being.
Yeah, smokes. I mean, they're going to be worth their weight in gold right now, especially with these ridges. If you're having to worry about the front and the back, try to move up. We see it right there, actually, with, I believe, Robert and some other people. And Passion Fruit, this is the team that's been kind of just chilling up top on the hillside, not really wasting their utility just yet. But now it looks like Joey's got one of his own pulled onto the SLR player. He goes for it. I don't think that's hitting, but see if he can dodge himself.
Joey, 3 more grenades to go. Just trying to take out this SLR player. Going to be popping out the dip right there with the DBS grenade combo. Able to take him out and now get the revive on their felon comrade, who is going to be down to just a duo now from YKG. And that little bull, not in the zone, by the way. So tabs on that. Ace of Spades still 4 up. They're going to be near the Zombie Boys. So we got 11 teams. We still got a lot of teams alive. So it is going to be a bloodbath here, Enigma.
Yeah, I think it's going to be when this zone shift happens, everyone's going to have to start moving in. Mizexus has had their fun in the sun of chilling on the edge and stuff like that. But now you've got Black Mamba behind you. We see C4 as well taking a fight somewhere. I believe it's onto the YKG duo.
Boom!
Oh my goodness! Blown up, Dave. The
See ya.
vehicles, I like the vehicle plays, but when you're getting blown up in them, it doesn't feel good at all.
Oh, man, the risky plays, So Black Mamba down to just a duo. Looks like they're both trying to just thread the needle between Mizexus and Passion Fruits. I don't know if it's going to work because now we got C4 making the pull up as well. So it's up to Passion Fruits to really keep their head on a swivel and defend their terrain right now, as they have a huge opportunity to get a lot of elimination points, as all these teams just looking in their general direction to rotate through. Next circle also goes up to the north. So now Passion Fruits also need to relocate.
Yeah, and I mean, they've got C4 next to them. I think they're kind of confirming that the Black Mamba and Mizexus fight were no remaining players. Just going to be Extreme Slayers on their east side. And C4 actually opting to take the center position early in front of Passion Fruit, resulting in Passion Fruit having to be the team now to work in from zone. Time to see it just now. They should have some utility. It looks like Tiggleton does have 4 smokes to his name. I think that'll be interesting to see how he uses it. But Extreme Slayers as well. I mean, they've had the option of gatekeeping around the edge so much, and unfortunately only having 6 eliminations. I think they'd have way more like YKG, but I mean, 6 eliminations, that's not too bad still.
Not too bad. Hayuya was trying to hold down their position in the circle because Robert, Remix, and Trick were looking to be proactive there. But we'll get back to that because Ace of Spades is going to be locking horns right now with SBG here. And now 66 trying to mark their territory, and they did successfully. Able to take out Ace of Spades. They're going to be trying to get some more eliminations on the board over there with the third party, but successful defense here from SBG with 5 total eliminations, but it's not done yet. The solo YKG, the 1v3.
Yeah, I mean,
pull it off.
I mean, Joey had gone for the shots, got knocked instead, but Excavation, he's
Great
a
grenade.
player that could do it. Gets the one opening, Dave.
1v2.
2v1 situation. Going for it.
2 more grenades to go. Ska Z with the shotgun, though. The pump and dump right there. In the Oh, 1v1 now. It's a grenade battle.
No vest.
Here comes Papa Blue.
I think he's going down to the zone. Oh, you hate to see it.
I like the play, though. The pre-fire through the smokes. I like that a lot. And honestly, that just destroyed SBG and their chances to make it to late game regardless. But Dauntless, we got Bob out here showing up, trying to flush out excuse.
Yeah, I mean, it's 2v2 situation, I believe. His members are trying to get the resets going off. Does get one, but Bob needing to be the hero for his team. Getting the nade knock onto Matt. Had to have done damage. The other play looks like Wade's down to just a few ticks of HP left. But Mango now trying to find his own nade knock, playing a little bit of dodgeball around the rock. Does what WYY make the move, or does he stay? A bit of an overthrow. Bit of a miss spray, but gets one. A little bit of help from Extreme Slayers as well with the third party, Dave. It's a 1v1 situation on the mountain.
They're coming from all directions right now. Extreme Slayers, SPG over there. It is non-stop right now, 4-way, but they're still surviving somehow in this little dip. But we're slipping on down now in the blue, trying to avoid the Molotovs here. Can we make it? We are done because Robert, GG, taking him out with that grenade.
Yeah, you just feel bad seeing that. Just missing, falling down 3 or 4 times. Now we do have the remaining Dauntless players on that north side, but Passion Fruit as well, finding their own knock onto Extreme Slayers. So a bit of a misplay maybe from Extreme Slayers squad. Now having to focus their sights onto Juancho on Passion Fruits.
That was like 10 grenade kills in a row, by the way. Non-stop. It's just grenade R, I'm going to call it now, instead of Miramar, grenade R. But Passion Fruits, great game for them to have a come-up. They are at the bottom of the leaderboard. But you know me, I'm all about that momentum. Extreme Slayers got it after game number 1. So let's see what will unfold here. 4 teams in it.
Yeah, we're seeing Snowix in the center right now. A bit of an outplay going on from the squad. Dauntless now being the team to be eliminated. Ayuya actually opening it up for the Passion Fruit squad right now. I believe it's a 4v1v1.
Snowx is such a thorn right now on the side of Passion Fruits on the high ground. Honestly, not allowing Passion Fruits to take up that position and take out Ayuya from Extreme Slayers. But let's see, it's a 1v1v3. Passion Fruits have the numbers advantage. Ayuya has a boulder to avoid the Molotov spread. It's going to be alive for the time being. There goes Snow 66. Passion Fruits, can they do it? Can they get a winner chicken dinner here on Miramar? The crystal ball. HH24 with the Molotov. They know where Ayuya is. Ayuya's going to be burning all alive. Here comes Tiggleton with the 360. Pump and dump right there. But HH24, the Molotov, sealing the deal. Tiggleton, PUBG Mobile, you'll love to see it here. Passion Fruits, winner, chicken dinner. Enigma.
Yeah, I mean, I wanted to see it. The pump, you know, he's going for the 720, little flick
Not even 360, 720.
The 720, more than one, 2 of them going in a circle. So, you know, unfortunately, I did decide to run in the molly and give it to H, but, you know, I didn't even think he was expecting that. You know, you're seeing a guy kind of sky eagle over you,
spinning,
going down. Yeah, do a little corkscrew in on you. I mean, I'd be scared to be honest.
What were those things that it was like a little circle thing, and you like change out the bottoms, and you just like rip it and you spin it and like battle each other? What were those called?
Blade or something?
Blades. Oh, there you go. Tiggleton the Blade.
Something like that.
Reflections, are you here, man? Because that was the 720 right there. We almost had it.
That was nice, dude. We almost had it. 720. What's this guy, Tony Hawk, out here? And Beyblades, by the way, I remember those clearly because I was in junior high when those things were popular, man. You know, again, Enigma, don't start it. Okay, I know I'm a little bit old. All right, turned 32 the other day. It is what it is. My agent told me I don't look a day over 24. Now, whether he was lying or not, I don't care because I took it. Inflated the ego a bit. Great map, Dave. So it's not Miramar, it's Grenade R?
Grenade Mar. Yeah.
Grenade Mar. Okay.
There you
Grenade
go.
Mar. I like it. That was like 5 eliminations in a row when it came to the nade. Exciting end zone. A lot of victories. Let's start breaking them down. Dave, first and foremost, off the rip, I've got to give Golden Eagles their flowers, man. They finally beat Butterfly Effect, bro, in an initial, and I was so happy to see that. And then C4 rolled in and wiped them. But regardless, Golden Eagle finally gets a W.
Yeah, shout out to 66 right here because, you know, other teams, they might opt to get the revive, you know, because you have to imagine the team comms. It's like, I'm safe, pick me up. And instead of doing that, they're like, nah, I'm going to get the flush. And, you know, it looked good, but C4, but the third party, C4, starting to light up here tonight as well. You love to see it.
Yeah, C4 finally showing some life. Now, granted, 3 points, or at least 3 eliminations. Might have got some placement points. Not looking too stellar, but still waking up bit after bit. You said it best at the beginning, Dave. They're not worried, right? They're just focused on the finals. It's kind of where their mind is at. Right now could be play around time. Not that they're not taking it seriously. They might be just trying some new things out. Another victory, though, Enigma, is YKG. YKG has a pretty decent game. 11 eliminations plus the placement points. That puts them at 13. Nomads only get 1 point. There was an 11-point gap, which means now math this might not work out, but I'm trying, Enigma. They should be leading by 1. YKG should be the official leaders of Titan Series season number 4 when we go to stats.
Hey, I mean, we're not mathematicians here, okay? We're casters. I'm not sure if the
Well, you're a
math's
wizard.
adding up. I got the
You're a
wizard,
wizard.
but
Yeah.
I'm guessing on who's winning, okay? Not
Okay.
what the point total's looking like or the mumbo jumbo that people got to do behind the scenes. But I mean, YKG, I talked about it. The momentum this squad can get by dropping double elimination points at the start of the day. They do it back to back. Now, the 2 placement points obviously aren't anything crazy, but if you're dropping double-digit points off just your eliminations alone, I don't think you're really going to be caring too much about the placement points at the end of the day.
Guess we get to see Tinkletown very shortly, doing the 720, nearly pulling it off. Look at that end zone, Dave. Like, that was wonderful to see. So many nades being used. In fact, we got a stat in the back lines. How many nades were used?
Yeah, Clint, the PUBG Mobile godfather who grants everybody the PMSL slots, said 78 grenades used that match. 78.
Wow.
And
78.
720 Tickleton Beyblade.
Oh! Wow.
Oh,
If
that
he
would
got
have been beautiful.
it. If he got
If
it.
he would have got it, that would have been truly spectacular. Still like the effort, though. Still like the effort, right? Passion Fruit, nice, wonderful job. 5 eliminations, 906 damage dealt, which is, not too bad. But the important thing is Passion Fruit finally gets a W, which has to increase their stock, Enigma.
Yeah, and I mean, 5 elimination points. I mean, I guess you can take what you can get at this point. The squad was struggling before in that first week. The second week, they're able to find a win early on in tournament play. And we're now at the halfway mark, so I'm interested to see what that sort of overall looks like. But look at this. I'm seeing Juancho up there twice. Man himself, 4 assists with 13 grenades used. I mean, that's something
Jeez.
close. I believe what you guys said, 78
78.
total grenades used. So, I mean, he's got a big piece of the cake with that one.
That's right. 13, 78. That is some pretty wild numbers. It is Passion Fruits once again getting the victory, and good on them for doing so. They went into that game number 2, and at least 9 through 16. I want to say at the very tail
like
end of them.
15th.
They were in 15th, so they started the day in 15th place. They were in 15th after game number 1, but this is definitely, actually could very well move them up to the top page. We look at the overall, and I believe YKG leads by 1, and they will. So
Wow.
big moves from them, from YKG. They're on the up and up, but for Nomads, they're staying pretty stagnant, Dave.
Yeah, Nomads, come on. You said this is the season you're gonna take out C4. I know that all matters in the finals, but still, you wanna finish the qualifier strong here. So, not too worried about them yet. But huge shout out to Extreme Slayers when it comes to week number 2 so
Huge,
far.
yeah.
Very consistent here tonight so far.
Very consistent. Extreme Slayers, they are playing very well. They're getting their feet underneath them, and it doesn't look like they're slowing down anytime soon. 9 through 16, we take a look at it. Enigma, Golden Eagle still down at the bottom, but they are winning, or at least they did win last game. Who else needs to move up? C4 finally moving down to the second page.
Well, in my eyes, it's going to be C4 and Mazexis. And Mazexis, we all saw it. I had the choice of them in the last match, unfortunately getting eliminated pretty early on. But that's a squad that has played in PMPLs and stuff like that before. They do have a few namesake players on that roster like Valak and Nate. So I'm a little bit surprised seeing them so far down the leaderboard, and hopefully with us reaching the halfway point after that match that they're able to improve and start shooting themselves back up the leaderboard.
Absolutely. We'll see if they can do it. They still got some time today. 2 more maps to go. We're watching Sanhok and Erangel, so you don't want to go anywhere. And if you guys want to keep up to date with all things Titan Series related, including some wonderful stats, go to titanseries.gg. Got to say, I'm impressed. Every time I go there, I'm like, the stats, they are detailed. So if you want to stay up to date, like I said, titanseries.gg. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, game number 3 coming your way. It's time to get Titan Series Season 4. Week number 1 started. Map number 1, Erangel.
Oh, HH24 gets knocked on the off angle. Zombie Boys.
As another grenade will be cooking it. Oh, that one hurt.
Klaus. Ooh, easy Klaus. Oh, what a shot there. Let's go, baby. Bolt action.
Oh, has one Molotov. I don't know. It's time to take out the weapon. DP.
Got him!
It is out.
Meanwhile, Valak. There we go from Azexis. Nice
Boy,
knock there, or onto Papi Triste, and then here comes the push. Beautifully done.
Butterfly Effect do have some vehicles, and we're starting to see the collapse. Butterfly Effect rolling up the hilltop. Zombie Boys trying to get some licks in on the board with the third party.
Bryce will run up. He's going to run out wide in the open, but Azexis are eliminated, so not going to be able to win this game. It's Zombie Boys versus 4-1-2. Julio hits one knock. He's down to 1 HP and goes down.
Looking around that corner, we're seeing the shots go out. Terminus is coming around the corner. The shots are flying. That's a quick rip and a half as they are continuing to move on through. SPG just picking gold apart as both maybe swing here. The shots trying to come in. Kai's able to find one. Maybe go for the thirst. Is it going to be there? Trying to just play this. It's looking good. Can Kai do it? Kai gets two. It's going to be Foops, man, in the back of this truck. Just kind of play around, popping him over the top, getting some of those shots. It's going to be able to make the turn and burn on the Negro on this team. They're able to land these grenades. Endorphin moving on in with this shotgun. This is going to be it, Enigma.
Yeah. I love the positioning right now from Butterfly Effect. You got Dark and Solo who are sitting on one side, Kubi on the other. Push up the stairs, the shots come in, but they're kind of filing in one by one. Can Five do this? Is able to find one, finds two.
Away from here. That's exactly what they're going to do, but Jay, oh my.
Wow! It could spell disaster. Pain goes for the outside, a couple of shots in. Everybody's focusing them down. Pain gets ripped apart. More fear of that trade coming in, but Fate's gonna be the one to have to move. The smokes are out. It's gonna be Opto rotate a little bit wide, but just like that.
Might take too long, but he hits the free fire on two players.
Oh my gosh, Ayala! Don't do it to him, Ayala! Don't do it to him! Happens, the magic happens! Mythic! Oh, from Naden gets the first.
Reload.
What an opening salvo!
Ooh,
Oh!
the beam, it's a 1v1.
Say peekaboo! 1 down, 3 to go. Ooh, this is gonna be Zombie Boys. They need a speech. They got 1. They're looking at 2.
Oh, this is look good. Actually,
Oh.
it's real good, baby.
And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Titan Series Season 4, week number 2. 2 maps down, 2 more to go. We'll see who will finish at the top once today has concluded. I'm Taylor Reflections Noble, your host, but of course, we got 2 wonderful faces joining in the mix to cast the action for game number 3. It's going to be Dave as well as Dendro. Dave back again, looking fresh as always. The energy's been great. 78 nades, a little bit of everything. Dave, how you feeling?
I'm still feeling really good here. 720 Beyblade flick right there. Hopefully we see more on this Sanhok map from Tiggleton, the PUBG legend.
That's right. I hope we get a little bit more there. First time anyways, at least from my perspective, seeing that. Dandro, always great to see your face, man. You're looking great. The flannel's out because it's getting cold outside. How's everything going?
Brother, I am freezing, and so I am wearing this flannel to stay warm. But one thing that will keep me warm, it is this action-packed gameplay and the amount of nades we're seeing. Okay, I feel like I can feel the heat coming off of my screen right now just from everything that we see going on. So listen, we had 2 maps. We're about to go into Sanhok, which we just know is just going to be even more aggressive. I can't wait for it.
Sanhok was great last week. You really loved watching it. And the reason why is because we had Trouble in Paradise. That's what I coined it. And it was Mazexis, Golden Eagles, SBG. All 3 of them were fighting, culminating into just one massive engagement. Dave, I know you weren't casting up, but I know you were at least watching, kind of staying up to date with it. I think it was SBG who ended up moving out. If I'm not mistaken, it was C4 who rolled in like after that massive battle and ended up winning it ultimately and then moving forward. But that Trouble in Paradise was wild.
Yeah, and when it comes to the 2 teams, hopefully it's not going to be the case here today because C4, I know they're looking at the finals and like, hey, Dave, we're not worried about this, but you also have to qualify, right? And right now, C4 are in 11th position, so if they go back to Paradise and SBG wipe them out, that's not a good look here.
Not a good look indeed. Dandro, let's do a prediction, all right? Who you going with? Recap, Nomads, YKG, Dauntless. That was your top 3 last week. Are you going to go with any of those top 3 this week for this map?
I am, just based on a little bit of the performance of tonight. I got to go with YKG. I feel like in these first 2 maps, they have just been absolutely insane. We've seen some great aggression coming out of them. They're not afraid to push some of these engagements, to push some of these fights. And I think when we talk about a smaller map, we saw them last week just have a lot of success. So they're feeling themselves. I think they're warmed up. I think they're kind of running the lobbies a little bit. And I got to imagine on this smaller map where they can kind of just really fly and fry, they're going to come out on top.
Fly and fry, my favorite saying, baby. That's how you win championships. Dave, what about you? YKG, is that your favorite?
They're definitely primed for a chicken. All right, they're in first place on the overall no chickens so far. So their mouths are watering. So they're gonna definitely look for one here. But listen, I said passion fruits last game. All right, they won it.
You did.
So giving them the mustache state buff. I think it's going to be Zombie Boys. I know you said Zombie Boys last game. I'm going to try to help you, give them the buff. You know, hopefully both of our buffs can combine, and maybe they'll get a chicken here on Sanhok.
Zombie Boys getting the chicken. Do zombies need to eat? Well, I guess they would appreciate a chicken. I guess as long as it's live. Do zombies drink blood, or is that only vampires? I don't really know. I guess depends on what universe and what show you're watching. The Walking Dead or something else. Jar Jar Binks is one of the best Jedis out there. Check it out. For me, though, Dave, I want to go Zombie Boys.
Jedis.
I really do.
Jedis?
But hey, look, man, we're going places. We're going places quick. Hold on tight. For me, man, I'm not going to go Zombie Boys this time. I'm actually going to join Dandro and go YKG. So the buff from Davis, it has to be enough. It was for Passion Fruit. YKG has just been, they've been nutty, all right? They've been highly consistent today, not necessarily with the chicken dinners. We covered that, but more so with the eliminations. It's staggering, really. They've literally been able to overtake first place from Nomads, not from placings, but from elims, 17 and 11 respectively. They get second place last week. This week, they're getting first. This is going to be their map, and this is where they're really going to start taking a tremendous lead, even more so than they already have with the 1 point over Nomad. So YKG, it seems like, is going to be me, Dandro, and on the other side, well, you have Dave, right in the middle with the Zombie Boys. We'll see how well they're going to be able to do. Map number 3, can't wait to get it started. It's going to be on Sanhok. Without further ado, go ahead and take it away, boys. Dandro, Enigma.
Hey, thank you so much, Taylor. Here we go. Map number 3 of the day. And Dave, is there one thing I know, it is that the team that Taylor roots for is inevitably just about to do absolutely nothing on the map. So I feel bad for our YKG boys because I was really hoping they were going to come out frying, but who knows? They might get contested off drop here and just be taken out early.
Yeah, he heard you wanted them to have a chicken, so he's trying to give them the curse right there. So we'll definitely keep tabs on YKG to see how they perform. And they've been doing a great job here tonight. Same thing with Extreme Slayers, really consistent all evening long, at least in the first 2 games. So this being the halfway mark, kind of flipping the script for a couple of these teams. Sanhok, always just a wild map. You never know what you're gonna get here. Already looking up there in the north, we got Zombie Boys, SLR, and then C4 kind of playing 4 corners, possibly gatekeeping both SLR and Zombie Boys. So it is going to be a spicy Sanhok map here.
And I mean, look, Bope is not too far away. They could definitely come on in, but we are already into some engagements up in that top right side of the map. SLR looking to maybe get some shots in. We got C4 that's not too far away either. Maybe potentially a little bit of a pre-nade coming on in. Looks like maybe it's not going to happen. A little bit of respect coming out of here, Dave, between some of these players right now. Looks like they're kind of just heat checking each other, saying, are we going to push this fight? Are we getting aggro? Or are we just kind of maybe... Hey, let's maybe kind of back it up a little bit. Let's hold up.
Yeah, Zombie Boy is definitely looking to come out on top of this one, but SLR have been feeling it here tonight. And just looking at the positions, Zombie Boys, hopefully they're aware of their surroundings, because SLR, there is going to be one of the squad members out there on the off angle who might have a nice little peek on one of the Zombie Boys to start this fight off.
One of the things they have to be careful about too, like even a little bit more east of them, you have Bope, right? Who's not too far away. They could loot up, and if they're feeling their loot, they could hop in a vehicle, they could come on over here and potentially even fourth or fifth party this game or something. So got to be a little bit careful. If you're going to take one of these engagements, you have to do it quick. But so far, nothing super aggressive coming out so far between these two teams. They know that they're kind of near each other. Nobody is wanting to super hyper commit to the engage right now. As Orsic, he's going to be able to get the cross. And actually, XCC is going to be the one to open this one up onto Crazy. Bond's going to be able to find Juan. As we now kind of have this sort of triangle of fighting going on over here.
Yeah, and C4, they love third party, and that's just their bread and butter right there. And the off angle from SLR getting taken out right there, that's a massive L when it comes to SLR and their game plan. So really looking to see what the Zombie Boys can accomplish, because it's really, they're in the middle. You know, they're in the thick of it when it comes to being surrounded by not one, but two different teams right now.
Yeah, I love that you call that out. They're sort of kind of split person, right? Who's kind of there to grab an off angle, to get you some info, to tell you where they're going to be at. That's a critical player you need to be able to have up and ready to be able to play for you. So the fact that they get taken out so quickly, so early, definitely puts them at a disadvantage for what we're seeing exactly right here. C4 kind of just circling the village, making sure nobody is making an exit and just trying to take these pot shots if possible. Looking to gather some of these vehicles together as well so that way they can use it. You can see Sick here is just kind of holding, using this third-party peek to be able to kind of see, is anybody trying to run away? Can I be able to get any quick beams in? And it doesn't look like it just yet, so some quick patience coming out from C4 right here.
Yeah, definitely patience is going to be key on the side of C4, and they have like a nice little cover fire between Sick and Bond as well on the shoreline. So once when these two teams start fighting, regardless of who wins, they're going to have to push out of the village, and C4, they're going to be ready.
It does look like the zone is going to kind of pull up to them at least a little bit for now, so they won't have to get pushed out by Big Daddy Blue here too early, so they can play this a little bit slower. No real kind of impetus to have to try and take these engagements fast. They know they can kind of wait out. Now, the only problem with that is that obviously you're kind of stuck to having to take this engagement with whatever loot that you were able to find, right? So this may come down to a little bit to who was able to find the better loot when it came down to this drop spot. There's only so many buildings that you can go ahead and try and gather information and equipment from. We'll have to go ahead and see. Meanwhile, C4 really have like actually fully, completely surrounded this area from like 4 completely different corners. I love this.
Yeah, I love this from C4 here. Definitely going to be rooting for them. And you had a great point as well. Like Zombie Boys being the first team to drop here and getting pinned down from SLR. We saw at least one of their players, no helmet. So when it comes to having the utility, when it comes to grenades, Molotovs, even bullets, it might be somewhat low for both these teams within this town, because this town is not that big when it comes to loot. So C4 definitely going to have the advantage on these two teams. But like you said, zone is going to be favoring all 3 of these squads, so they can play this one out. They can kind of pump the brakes and make sure not to make any little micro mistake here. But at the end of the day, this is PUBG Mobile, and these teams want to fight. They need to fight. You know, both C4 and the Zombie Boys need elimination points when it comes to trying to play catch up on the overall leaderboard. Now, Zombie Boys have a little more room to work with 35, but C4 and both our squad SLR inside, they need the points.
Yeah, and which is why I think you're seeing C4 play that so aggressively, right? They know they want those just kind of easy, or what at least they're deeming as easy eliminations points, and they know they just have to play patiently, and those points will come to them. But on the other side of the map, we have Passion Fruit and Ace of Spades battling it out. There's some quick shots onto one. HH gonna be able to try and help from afar, as that looks like the full bleed out is there. And well, Kid's gonna be able to find one. Woo!
Wow. And this is coming off of the tail end of Passion Fruits winning a game as well. So kind of unfortunate to have HH already be thirsted here. And that's going to set Passion Fruits back a couple pegs. This is going to be up against Ace of Spades, a team who isn't really known for their team fights here. So Passion Fruits might have the advantage when it comes to the experience. But Kiddo cooking a grenade right now.
Ooh, let's see. Can it land? Looks close. Oh, gotta be careful. Kiddo almost getting caught by both of those grenades. Oh, look at the kill feed though, Dave. It looks like Zombie Boys making some moves onto SLR, and C4 are going to be coming in and swooping on through the village. We're starting to see some action. Some players start to fall. People are getting aggressive.
Yeah, for sure. And the reason being that fight in the village up in the north is finally going to start to happen is because the next circle does shift and they're no longer in play. So they needed to make this happen, as now we're going to be looking at C4 Bond looking to flush out the Zombie Boys.
Zombie Boys looking a little worse for wear. Two of them very low HP. You can see the teammates come up. They are all playing together as a team. The Zombie Boys are split up. You can see the fourth member of C4 does have a little bit of an off angle, so could potentially come in and try and take a shot where they're not suspecting. Nades coming in from Pain up on that top floor. Looks actually they might be able to land a little bit of damage with that one, but not going to commit to anything yet. I do like this. They're playing aggressive, but they don't want to just put themselves in a disadvantageous position.
Yeah, it's so funny. SLR have a solo. There's still two of them alive, but there's a solo right in the middle compound. We see right there with the Tommy gun, XYZ. You can only imagine the pressure right there, being surrounded and just hearing the footsteps and all the grenades go off around you here. So could definitely play spoiler to both of these teams, depending on how they play their cards here.
Julio gonna replenish some of that HP, just trying to peek through this window, see what's going around. You can see C4 is grabbing some of those vehicles. They might just disengage from this entire fight, kind of recognizing that maybe they spent too much time on this engagement. And if we remember last week, Dave, C4, they had spent a lot of a single map just chasing a player down. And I think they learned a little bit from that coming into this week. They don't want to engage a lot of this. They're going to leave these players to go. As Crazy is going to be able to use that DBS to find two players.
Yeah, the tunnel vision, definitely their kryptonite here. So I like that they are going to be pulling out. And you know what? The zone's not too far from where this fight was about to happen. So they can essentially just go in the circle and not take any blue zone damage. It doesn't hurt too much here early game, but they can just set up a camp, a gatekeep. So Zombie Boys, they're going to have to approach the circle eventually. So C4 just looking forward, looking one step ahead of the Zombie Boys, essentially.
We always say this map is the aggressive map. It's where teams really push and where we see a lot of eliminations come on through. But this is looking like a much slower paced Sanhok, Dave. We're only seeing a handful of eliminations across the board if we look at our right side there. And it's really Zombie Boys are in the lead with 2 over 1, which is what some of the other teams have. That's only because they landed at one of the only triple contested areas on the map. So teams seemingly kind of slowing down their pace on this map now and actually trying to maybe respect different squads in the area they're playing. This is a little bit interesting to me.
Yeah, a lot of respect coming out here on this Sanhok map, and I believe teams just kind of learning from their lessons on past Sanhoks here. And we got the Nomads here, dead center, so this could be a really nice opportunity for them to reclaim their first place spot on the overall leaderboard. As YKG down there in the south, you got Passion Fruits right ahead of them. So like you said, a lot of these teams, they found a compound in the zone. They're playing grouped up. The only team really not grouped up right now are the Nomads, trying to take up as much terrain as possible. And the next circle does pop. Nomads still in the zone here.
Yep. I mean, Nomads, we know how capable they are, and we know that they can kind of pop off at any moment as well. this could be the map that they do that. A lot of teams still sitting inside this zone. Only a couple have to kind of migrate in from the outside, but nothing they have to super worry about. As a boat, they got SBG kind of nearby. Could maybe pop up, take a couple shots if they'd like, but it doesn't look like it. Meanwhile, Robert GG from Extreme Slayers, he's gonna fight with YKG over here, Dave, but it looks like Excavation's gonna be the one to answer on back. Smoke going out, gonna try and get the teammate back on up, and it's going to be able to.
Wow, Extreme Slayer's done, and we were talking about this team being extremely consistent, but look at this, Nomads and YKG.
Fighting it out, they're starting to push on up. They find the one. There's two. They're trying to look for maybe some of the others. There's a couple of eliminations come on through the feed. Okay, this is what we were kind of looking for. YKG was the team I was really hoping would do well, but then Taylor decided to also root for them, and this is their demise. But hey, at least it is the Nomads coming on through. It's a team we've been waiting to kind of wake up, and they're seemingly doing so here.
Yeah, without a doubt. YKG kind of not getting luck from the circle and getting picked apart, losing 2 on that rotate. Unfortunate, but they are still going to have a duo alive, and they're going to be near Excuse and Passion Fruit. Says now we're going to be checking in with these 2 teams right there on the edge of the play zone. But like you mentioned, we got the Nomads to the north looking to get some points, but it looks like Passion Fruit's looking to make a play right now.
Coming in on top of Excuse. You can see Kai and Matt, they're here. They're running as a duo as they decide to go on inside. Looks like there's a grenade being held. Yeah, Kai has the grenades in hand, trying to let him go 3. Gets in a lot of damage, actually, on both of these players. Juancho has to go ahead and back on up. Not going to commit, though. Divine just waiting for the player to push on through. Looks like they're not going to. He's going to take the opportunity. Take some pain meds. Still just patiently waiting. A little bit of a standoff now between Kai and Divine. The nade's still coming out. Wait, he hears the pin pop. He might come around, and he's able to find one. Wants able to come in, get the thirst. Is going to be able to. You see the teammate come on over. Can they take this 2v1? Matt's going to be there. The shots are coming out. Grenade getting prepped. If they're not careful, this could land right at their feet. But Matt gonna go ahead and throw it on through. Not gonna be there. Comes on the outside. Almost finds Divine, but they're not gonna let it happen.
Great kind of duo push right there from Passion Fruits. Meanwhile, they had the safety of the Guardian Angel, I guess you can say, from Tiggleton in the north. So if Matt was to look to rotate on the northern side of that compound, Tiggleton would have had the vision, the prime vision right there. So Passion Fruits getting a couple eliminations after losing HH2-4 very early on. You'll love to see it. So now they got 4. Next circle goes up. So Passion Fruits, good fight. Good thing they got some points in the pocket, because next circle is going to be a challenge, as they're going to have to push their way through the Nomads here. But looking on around at other potential fights, Black Mamba and Ace, these 2 teams are as far as possible from this next circle shift. And, well, both of them, they're going to have to make some moves here very shortly.
Yeah, it was a little bit surprising that some of these teams are kind of spending this time so far away. We can see they are going to go into this engagement potentially. Just
trying to get
patiently.
the intel.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Just kind of jumping this rock, seeing what's around. Is going to hear the vehicle, though. Maybe if they're not careful, could get some cheeky kind of shots in. That's what it looks like is going to happen. Do they know that JKK is here?
One of the players from Black Mamba trying to get the run over to start the fight here. Looks like Echo was able to get a grenade, so here should be the collapse from Black Mamba.
Trying to hit that Tokyo drift in the vehicle, maybe to get an elimination. Gonna hop on out, comes on over, has the gun in hand, and very quick work. Gonna rip him on up, bring him on down as the fight continues going through. Unknown, though, gonna answer back with their own, and just like that, Ace of Spades gonna get eliminated by Black Mamba. They took the fight to them, and they're able to come out on top.
Oh, rip. They only got the 2-seater, man. That feels bad. I don't know if they have another vehicle, so we did see one of their players actually knocked out in that engagement. You can put a player in a vehicle, by the way, now, who is down and out. So they're not going to be able to use that here. But look at this. Mazexis looking to make a push here, take this compound. We saw them, I believe, third party and another squad rotating. That's going to be a fight between the Golden Eagles and Dauntless across the way.
And they're kind of playing this outside of boot camp a little bit. Zombie Boy
Oh,
still
no.
in this as
Solo.
well. Julio, yeah, the only one left alive. The sole player has his DBS. Here's somebody on the inside. That's going to be gold.
Right in the crate.
I kind of like this.
Yeah.
You just, you get your Elim on the way out if you can, especially when you have something, a DBS in hand that you know that if you catch somebody on the backside, you're going to be able to go. Well, which one I see right here? Juan
Got him.
goes up against Valak. Doesn't let it happen.
Yeah, that was a solo from SLR, the last remaining member to survive the Village onslaughts earlier on. But Mazexis, they're just taking all the shots here, nowhere to go. Now we'll be taking some blue zone damage, or at least a duo up here, because Nate and MM6 are actually going to be in the zone. So inactive, it's going to be Quan that is, and Nate's in the zone. So inactive really needs to come up with a game plan and quickly.
You hate to get split from your team, especially in a situation like that where you're just trying to stay alive. Passion Fruit, they heal up a little bit outside his zone. They still have this vehicle, and they are using it to fly on in. They are coming into Black Mamba's territory as they get out. Juancho gets absolutely deleted, will get thirsted. Oh my gosh, that was just going straight into the Viper's nest.
Yeah, I like the call, though. I mean, that's the only hard cover in their circle. Unfortunate for them, it was already going to be occupied by a duo from Black Mamba, taking that one early on. So I respect the call, but here comes Nate with the M4 3 times, trying to take out Skies. As now they're going to be zooming on by, trying to get the pickup on a Scooby Snacks.
Keep checking the ridge. Trying to see if anybody's there. It's Butterfly Effect Dark sitting up top against this rock, though. Not going to peek out too hard. And Active will be able to get that first aid kit. Come on in. Dark actually was going to be able to find Nate, so finds the shots back on in. Nate's chilling in that hut. 2v1 now between Scooby Snacks and Eskies. Scooby Snacks down. Eskies coming in, trying to find Quan as they're going on through. And how many times is this going to happen? DBS is not hitting today, Dave.
Yeah, and while that was happening, remember we mentioned Mazexis got split up. Inactive actually put in a lot of work up against Golden Eagles, but eventually they were also taken down. So I am very surprised with the amount of damage these players are soaking up from the blue zone here. A lot of these players just playing reactive instead of proactive here this game. But Crow, last one alive here for the Nomads. 9 eliminations in total. So looking at the teams here, it looks like SBG have 4 up, so they will have the numbers advantage here. I don't believe SBG have a chicken dinner yet here in the Titan Series season. So this could be a good game for them.
Oh, well, it was looking great for them until you got Scooby Snacks ringing it down as Snow goes down very low. Will be able to pop the meds, gets back up. But just kind of going to show not an easy, just quick rotation for SBG's. Got to be careful, though. Dark is right here.
Uh-oh.
Okay, they're on the same team. Never mind. It's okay. I just got caught up. We have so much action going on here, but I'm glad that they're here. Dark, Scooby Snacks, they are playing together. And even though they are, too, going against, you know, a potential 4-man squad and a 3-man squad, I think they're still in prime position.
There's only 4 teams, and we're only in Circle 6, too. So we lost so many squads already. I was like looking at the clock. I'm like, this Sanhok map has gone by really quickly. Black Mamba is still in their shack down there. No longer favored in the zone. They're going to be dead to rights. I don't know how they're going to make it out of there alive. SBG, hopefully, they'll keep their heads on a swivel and not get backstabbed. But look at this. SBG looks like they'll be pulling up.
They are pulling up. I like Butterfly Effect. I like their position where they're at right now. You saw them getting in some good shots. SBG trying to hit the top of this sort of ridge line. And nobody really is worried about Black Mamba, so we're kind of witnessing this 4v3. If they make this positioning correct, they can kind of come out and easily third-party this.
Oh, there we go. Finally, SBG recognizing, hey, we got some enemies behind us, but that's the window of opportunity for Butterfly Effect to pull up with the utility.
There you go, Black Mamba getting taken out. They go down in third with 4 eliminations. SBG having 8 eliminations to themselves as Dark is going to be able to open this one up onto Skaz as they're trying to go on through. Snow gets taken out as well. Butterfly Effect
turning the tides, evening the tolls on this one as they decide to go on in. Scooby Snacks gonna be able to land in those shots, but it's gonna be Robs coming up the top. Let's see what's gonna be able to happen here. Dark goes through, and SBG, they're able to finish that one off. Winner, winner, chicken dinner.
SBG, huge game for them. They came in this map 5th place, so they're already in a really good position, but no chicken underneath their belt yet here. So that's going to catapult them. They might actually overtake Extreme Slayers on the overall, who have been performing really well here tonight. But that's also Black Mamba's best performance yet here on season number 4. So I like that we're starting to see some other teams show up here in the late game.
I love that too, right? Some of these squads, I mean, huge shout out to Butterfly Effect, right? For being able to position themselves on that backside, right? And be able to just kind of hold that down and just be able to convert when they needed to into that end game. It was an insane, electrifying sort of Sanhok map that we had in here, but let's bring back in Reflections to talk more about that map number 3.
Yeah, wonderful map 3, right? I mean, we see some brand new winners and some good faces start to come through, which is always wonderful. SBG, for the first time, at least when it comes to season 4, gets a victory, and they do so in a pretty spectacular fashion. But the big news is Butterfly Effect finally showing life. It's those initials have really been hurting them, whether they win it and then they go on to get 6 eliminations and then they fall short, which I think game number 1 they finish off in like 12th place, but still get the points. Game number 2, they lose the early initial when they have to go against Golden Eagles, but now they get 2nd place, which is always great. Black Mamba with the Shaq play, right? Ends up paying off. They have one of the best placings they have seen yet, at least when it comes to Sanhok specifically. But let's talk about our prediction, Dandra, all right? YKG, the curse apparently because I went with them, but they have one of the worst placings they have had today. What went wrong?
I mean, it just seems like they kind of just got rolled up on, right? They tried to get, I think they were trying to play aggressive. They were trying to get there, but it just seems like they lost all of their fights. And then right at the end there, we saw them just get absolutely steamrolled by this sort of vehicle play. They get rolled up on and they just can't hold their own. They tried though. I will give them a lot of credit. They did try, but unfortunately, at the end of the day, it just wasn't enough for them.
It wasn't, but on the flip end, this map was enough to overtake first place once again. So they lose it for one game day, but then they regain it. And of course, I'm talking about Nomads, who get a pretty decent finish. 4th place, 9 eliminations. It seems like they did a lot right in game 3.
Yeah, and I really like that the first place is going back and forth, because it gives everybody a run for their money, and there's not just like a blowout here. So pretty solid stuff between those top teams up at the top echelons. But real quick, the village fight in the north, the Zombie Boys, C4, the third party, SLR. That was something else, man. I love seeing those plays. And honestly, we were chatting about C4's positioning.
Right.
For me, that's a team that they do a lot of just practice together outside of lobbies and a lot of VOD reviews, because that was just a clean, calculated setup play from C4.
Yeah, I'm happy you brought that up, because C4 did set up quite well, and when I did note that was going to be a bit of a talking point, and the reason why is because I loved how C4 surrounded both teams on all 4 sides of Cal. Of course, you had SBG, not SBG, you had Zombie Boys, Super Lazy Reflex, who were in there. One team ended up taking a lot of damage and hurting quite a bit. That was team number 15, which ultimately was SLR, who ends up losing 3 members there. They lose their 4th a little bit later on as we get towards endgame. But C4 setting up in the way they did showed to me that they're a very mature team. Have they had success throughout, of course, the past couple of weeks? Not necessarily. They have shown glimpses that there can be a wonderful team, but that setup was truly great to watch from the overhead perspective, which, of course, we have access to. But SBG getting the win. Dandra, I talked about the trouble in paradise. Well, there was no trouble in paradise this time around. SBG were absolutely uncontested. Nobody went to paradise early on. Therefore, SBG had a very solid start and a great finish.
Yeah, I mean, we kind of talked about how this was a lot, sort of like, it was weird because it seemed like a slower map, but then like Dave said, it just got really fast out of nowhere. And we're starting to see here, I mean, look at some of these stats right now. Araya has 4 eliminations, 969 damage on the side of Robs, and 7 grenades used by Araya. That was some insane work coming out of them. Obviously, having that wide open POI worked out in the end for them. They didn't have to fight for it off drop, and they could kind of decide where they wanted to go throughout the rest of the match.
Look at our match results. Obviously, SBG getting a big win with 20 total points. Butterfly Effect, though, very proud of them to get 15 themselves. That is one of the strongest games we have seen them have yet. Not only in eliminations with 9, but also when it comes to placing. Typically, they place relatively low. But what does our overall standings look like? As I said, Nomads, they will retake first with 85. Dave, YKG sits in second with 74. But SBG, their stock just went a lot higher.
Yeah, SPG moving on up these leaderboards, and honestly, kind of just thinking about the last fight, SPG, Butterfly Effect. Both teams definitely have something to learn after that fight, but it was a nice fight to view. But when it comes to the leaderboards, Butterfly Effect, I felt like that chicken was there for the taking, but they pumped the brakes just a little too soon when we saw SPG taking out who was that? Black Mamba, right? That was the window for Butterfly Effect to just full send it, in my opinion. But Dark with a lot of grenades that game. So shout out to them for pulling up the leaderboards and really doing a good job here today.
Danjro 9 through 16. Bope taking last place. This time Golden Eagles finally moves up for the first time. They're in 15th. But, Black Mamba, they're in 10th place despite having a decent game number 3. But it just comes to show you, right, those other 6 games or 7 games they had prior from week 1 to week 2, they started off really slow. But maybe, just maybe, they'll break into top 9 by the end of the night.
I really hope they do, right? I mean, this is kind of a squad that everybody's been hoping really finds their feet, comes online, and is able to move up those leaderboards because we've seen it, right? This isn't like one of those squads where every week I feel like we're like, hopefully they come online, hopefully they do well. No, we've seen them do some insane stuff. We've seen them have these big games where they're able to get the chicken dinner and they're able to kind of get a lot of elimination. So we know it's possible, but it just seems like maybe over these first 2 weeks, they're still kind of grinding out maybe some strats, maybe need to do a little bit more VOD review, and hopefully they kind of, through this last map, maybe into next week, can really start showing their true colors.
And I think they have. I think they showed that they are quite a strong team, and they will continue to be a threat whenever they're on the battlefield. Hey, welcome back, Enigma. Great to see you, man. The SBG, right, they take this. They started the day off with 25 points, all right? They weren't looking the healthiest per se. They were in 5th place, but we've had some teams start off with 20 points today, and they stayed around 20 points. SBG, not the case. They've managed to get just around 40, getting up to 62 top 3. Did you foresee SBG being so strong today?
Well, I kind of pictured it with SLR for the most part, and, I have a bit of bias towards that team, but SBG being the team that kind of fills those shoes of, hey, we're in that top 8 ranking. We didn't really get into that top 3 range in terms of points, but when it comes to SBG, like Dave said, their stock just went through the roof. I mean, they're up there right at 3rd place, just behind 1st and 2nd in my eyes. If they have a solid, week 3 performance, they could aim for that 1st place spot, but SBG is, I think, a team we haven't really talked about enough.
I think so. I mean, again, because it's like, what do you expect from their 16 wonderful teams? For the most part, week 1, Nomads was the biggest talking point. I mean, they had a standout week. They were looking incredible. YKG this week has been the biggest talking point. You look at other teams, Extreme Slayer was a great talking point today with their performance early on in the earlier games, obviously. But Dauntless is a team that we haven't talked about too much either. Dauntless is a team that's been relatively consistent, currently sitting in 4th place, even though they don't necessarily become a main talking point throughout the cast. And I think that's because they're not having that many eliminations. I don't think they've got that many elims. They're kind of doing that loop strategy from previous Titan Series Pass where they don't get necessarily that many elims, but they're getting consistent placings, typically within the top 5. So they're always, they're in the mix, but they've been overshadowed by 11 elims or 17 elims by YKG or Nomads, popping off. Dave, Dauntless, what kind of team are they? they? Because it seems like placings or staying alive is kind of their strategy.
Yeah, you nailed it on the head. This team, one of those 50-50 teams that we call them here, and that's the team that gets 50% of their total points from elims and 50% from placement points. So always just right there smack in the middle, compared to like another team like Extreme Slayers, who get like 80% of their points from getting in fights, eliminations. They have like 31 total eliminations with only 17 placement points. So honestly, at the end of the day, I'd rather be a team that you're good on both fronts when it comes to your total points. So you're good at getting those placements, but you're also good at getting those eliminations when you need to.
And Dandro, the reason why Dauntless was a big talking point for me is because going into Game 4, this is where they struggled last week. And the reason why is because they ran into Ace of Spades, who ended up eliminating them. There was a tremendous battle, Nades, which has been really much of the storyline today, right? But Nades were the big talking point during that fight. Ace of Spades eliminates them. They go on to have one of the best games we have seen them have yet. Despite them not necessarily getting first place, they walked away with a total of 12 points, a lot of that coming from elim. So Dandro, Ace of Spades versus Dauntless. We're going round 2 and map 4 in week 2. Curious to see who ends up ahead on that one.
Yeah, I mean, Dauntless kind of were coming in last week. They looked really, really, really solid, but seemingly kind of struggling this week a little bit. I mean, we saw Ace of Spades in a couple of engagements today that have really kind of surprised me a little bit. So I feel like coming into this last map, I hope that Dauntless has done their homework and doesn't allow that to happen again. That they can maybe use this last map as their chance to really just kind of feel out how they want to decide to play this map. Listen, week to week, we are playing this map twice. Every single week, you have the opportunity to get reps on it. You need to be able to play this map well and have a very solid game plan going into it. And that game plan can't just be every single time, oh, well, we should have just won the fight. Like that's not how your game plans work. So hopefully if they don't feel like that fight was advantageous, they maybe decided, maybe their drop spot was okay, but they can take a different rotation path, a different looting path outside of it. Hopefully they've been able to do that homework and can do a little bit better this week.
See if they can. Super Lazy Reflex Enigma, that was your team that you went with for your prediction. Not asking for your prediction just yet, but have you seen enough from SLR to think that going into Game 4, they could very well be the favorite once again?
Well, I mean, unfortunately, it's not the case with my little wizard ball or whatever. I don't have the beard or the cap on just yet. But for me, I mean, the first week I had seen them making some plays, winning some engagements. But unfortunately, this week, just seems like they're losing all of them. A little bit of a falter in their step, I guess you could say. Hopefully it doesn't carry over too much into this last match, because after this match, you've only got 4 left after. So if you're wanting to be in that top 12, you want to be aiming for that top 5 position, maybe for a few extra bonus points, now's the time when you need to turn on the engine and start roaring.
I'm glad you brought that up, right? Because next week is the last week to get your, bonus points, right? The chance for your bonus points, anyways, going into finals. And there's only 5 more maps left. This is going to be one of them about to come up, going back to Erangel. So the stakes are relatively pretty high, I would say. So let's go down the list. Dave, we'll start with you. Prediction-wise, who you going with for map number 4?
Yeah, going back to game number 1, YKG, 16 eliminations on Erangel. So I know you guys picked them for last game, but I think what you meant was for this game. Game number 4. I can see them really just performing well once again. And listen, game number 1, they didn't have any circle luck. So if they get some circle luck here on this game, it's confirmed a chicken dinner.
Circle luck, all right, but I mean that's RNG though, right? So it's like YKG, can they control a bad zone and make something good of it? But with the good circle luck, they just seem like they're gods, which YKG
Enigma controls it. Just saying, and he's
and that's a good point. So Enigma, since you do control the zones, control your pick. Who you going with?
The back-to-back wins on the night. We're going with SBG for the 4th map.
Okay, SPG. I feel like that's such an easy way out though, because SPG wins the last map, and you say, you know what? I'm just gonna throw it out there. SPG. They're gonna. I like underdog. So Dandro, give me an underdog, or really just give me who you want. But I mean, hopefully an underdog.
I'm actually gonna go with Butterfly Effect, mainly just because I like their name a lot, but they also impressed me in that last map, if I'm being honest with you. I love how they played that final fight. It kind of just seemed like it came down to a 50-50 at the very end for where they were gonna be able to win it or not. But the fact that they were 2 players going against the rest of the lobby really impressed me, and the fact that they were able to hold on, get some eliminations on their way out, really impressed me. But also, to Enigma's point, if you predicted the weather the same as yesterday, you'd be right 70% of the time. So I don't know if that applies to PUBG Mobile or not, but he's not necessarily wrong in his strategy.
Enigma, anything from that?
Crystal ball. I don't want to hear any of this. It's a safe pick or, 70% odds. We're not mathematicians, okay? I'm just a wizard. Dave's the guy with the mustache, and we're all just here to cast PUBG Mobile.
70% of the time. I actually didn't know. Is that a real stat? I'm going to the goggle, and I'm going to be looking that up very shortly. All right, we're going into map number 4, the final map of the night. Back where we started, it's going to be Erangel. Dandro, Enigma, take it away.
Well, while Taylor goes ahead and Googles some basic statistics, we're going to be over here getting our last map of the day ready to get started. Now, Enigma, here's the thing. We watched how this map played in map number 1. We're coming in here again. Is this just another rep, or are teams, do you think, actually making some significant changes between map number 1 and map number 4 today?
In my opinion, a lot of these teams are just going to be doing the same reps. I don't think there's going to be any major improvement. But if you're one of those teams that maybe the first week you didn't do too hot on Erangel, and this week, the first match you did semi-decent, I'm looking more so at YKG for that. I'd expect the same teams to be able to pop off and perform again on both Erangel. So my eyes, of course, can be on YKG for the most part, seeing if they could drop another double-digit elimination record and that sort of stuff. But all these teams, for the most part, it's Erangel. A lot of these teams usually have a good read of the map. It's a matter if they choose to make the right decisions at the right times and whatnot. Sure. And one thing I gotta ask, Dandro, I gotta get your opinion. Do you think I could rock the Gandalf cosplay, the wizard cosplay, or not?
I'm going to be honest with you. I don't think I would see you as the wise old sage type of wizard, but what I would... Oh, okay, hold up. We're going to hold this on the phone for 1 second. Golden Eagles... no, it's the butterfly effect that they're going against. We're already seeing one player getting taken out full thirsted. That Sky's already sent back to the lobby straight off the drop. Apparently, I might be the problem here. I've been flaming Taylor the entire time. I might be the issue.
Yeah, maybe we're all just the problem. I don't know.
That's
maybe Taylor's really the wise one with his age and stuff like that.
You're not
that sort
wrong.
of thing. But for Golden Eagles and stuff like that, this is. If you're really just, I can't stress it enough. If you're butterfly effect, you'd been winning this fight, 9 out of 10 times, and then it comes to the last match of the day, and you already lose one off drop to the engagement. So a lot of the time when I'm seeing people get knocked, it's usually just they messed up the parachute drop. I'm not sure what happened with Skies there, but he was virtually right on top of 2 Golden Eagles players. So unfortunately, I think Butterfly Effect's going to play this a bit more on the back foot. But Golden Eagles now, if you're wanting to kick him out of Erangel, well, too bad, because they basically just won this fight with that early engagement. And I'm interested to see what notions they make if they're going to try to clear out Butterfly Effect or not.
Yeah, you can see it looks like Butterfly Effect is kind of split. So there is a potential where if Golden Eagles aren't careful, somebody peeks is at the wrong moment, you could be able to kind of get a nice little cross angle set up between the two of them and get it going. But it does kind of look like Kubi is making their way on the outside, maybe trying to connect with the other teammate. And maybe they could kind of push this from 2 different angles. You can see that Golden Eagles are really playing together, right? You have 5 who's kind of over here by themselves in this one building, but the other 3 are together in that other kind of hut. So hopefully they can manage to either, kind of maybe get the aggression going. But Butterfly Effect is set up for a solid little push on the other side of the map. We do have Passion Fruit, who seemingly is alone here, kind of by school. They have another squad nearby. It looks like Zombie Boys that they could rotate over to if they did need to, but it doesn't look like any movement just yet.
Yeah, and I think the first week it was Passion Fruit versus the Zombie Boys in school apartments. So I'm liking that Passion Fruit's opting, hey, we lost the engagements. Let's not try to throw our games when we could be, when we're needing all the points we can get. Let's just drop school. Just let them have it, get our own vehicles, rotate our way, and play with less loot. But going back to it, you talked about this spread, Dandro, and Scooby Snacks picking up the first elimination on the Golden Eagle squad, looking for more now.
This is why you can't count them out. The Butterfly Effect are coming in. We saw Scooby Snacks do this in the last map and has been able to do it now as well. Was able to find 455 from Golden Eagles.
gets in some nice shots on one of the other players, and has now evened this up. So if you're Golden Eagles, you've spent all of this time, you didn't kind of convert your one elimination into more, and Scooby Snacks is going to find a cheeky little angle up on this roof. You can see Kubi is not too far away. This was my problem, right? They're all basically in one building. You have 5 who's in a different building behind them, but it's just 1 in T44. It's these 2 players left alone in this one little sort of building that they are waiting to figure out how do they get out of. But if they're not careful, Butterfly Effect, they are ready to bring down the bullets.
Yeah, and this is just a scary thing. We can see it just on the bottom part of the screen. I mean, Pachinki's basically just in this little grid format. The road itself doesn't help at all. And if you're Butterfly Effect, even though you lost that player in the center, you confirmed, hey, there's 4 players all in this one section. Let's make sure that they can't cross and take space. We did see Golden Eagles earlier on trying to get a smoke play going down to spread out, but Butterfly Effect being able to keep them back and ultimately allowing themselves to move the chess pieces themselves around the board.
And I love this Kubi trying to get in those grenades from up top. They might think that Kubi is ground floor and then try and, waste their grenades to get somewhere else. But here we go. We could see something else coming in as well. He hears the footsteps underneath them. Maybe can make something happen. You can see 5 has made their way up sort of to this top, trying to get some information for the squad. Gonna come back on down through it. The grenades are there. And Kubi, the DBS, gonna be able to make quick work of 1-2-2. They are just doing a fantastic job of ripping the Golden Eagles apart. I'm not seeing the Golden Eagles get aggressive. They need to kind of go on the offense when it comes here. And Dark is going to be able to find 5-6-6. Butterfly Effect are doing it right now.
Yeah, I mean, 3v4 situation. They got the last one lined up. Dark, it doesn't matter if he gets knocked. His teammates clean it up. And one thing I can't stress enough, you had made note of it. Maybe they didn't know if Kubi was on the roof and whatnot. I think they had a bit of an idea. Unfortunately, Golden Eagles getting a bit of BM, but I think Golden Eagles maybe tunnel visioned too much on the player on the roof. So Kubi just goes, hey, I'm going to just Batman you. I'm going to drop off the roof and just hit you with the one time for it. So nice stuff from them, but it's not stopping just yet. Dauntless now getting full sent by C4, getting beamed by 6 shots. No pun intended. Just kidding. I'm a boomer. But no, for the most part, I mean, nice stuff to see from C4. But back to the Golden Eagles fight. I mean, Dandra, what do you think that squad needs to do next time? They had the opening elimination. They had the positioning. In my eyes, that was more of a better position with how spread Butterfly Effect was. Not really capitalizing on anything.
Yeah, I feel like that was really just they were able to win that. They find that quick elim off drop, and then they just sat in buildings. They didn't move. Yeah. Right? They had one player playing on another building, and then you saw the other 3 were just in the same one. And it's like, what are you doing there? Like, you're not gaining any info. You're not kind of circling around it. We saw Butterfly Effect. The second they have a player go down, they kind of go into this challenge, this triangle formation, rather, right? They just absolutely triangulate the position.
For sure.
And Kubi's playing up top and is able to find the eliminations. It's just absolutely insane. But speaking of fights, look at this. Joey, YKG, they're getting aggro, pulls on up, hops on out, gets the shots in on a Baton, and Baton just says, see ya.
Yeah, I mean, cut your losses. Crow, sorry, you're donezo. See you in the next week. Teammates will have to finish out the rest of the night, but YKG is not stopping just there, finding Foops. Unfortunately, I think that's one of Dave's more favorited players, but unfortunately, 4-1-2, this was a team, I consider a Goliath in the lobby. He's next to YKG. Unfortunately, failing the tried and truths, the tasks, I guess you could say, of them needing to be able to win that fight. So YKG, another team that, I mean, it just seems like every zone or 2 zones, they're picking up 1 or 2 elimination points.
Excuse. Sitting on this side of the map, they do have 2 members of Extreme Slayers not too far away. So hopefully they can be able maybe to take one down very quickly and then find the other. Potentially could be the play here. You can see Kai just trying to check through, shoulder this window a little bit. But nothing coming up in sights just yet. A little bit of respect coming through here from this squad.
Yeah, the scary thing, though, is, I mean, I've been seeing Excuse all night, just doing these sort of 3-1 spreads. And this is, I assume, off drop, so to speak. I don't think the the Southwest sort of excuse player would be opting to put himself in that position unless it was for an engagement with Extreme Slayers, but not really finding anything just yet. And I mean, the zone's coming in at some point. We could see it on the top right, 1,600 meters away. It's not like you're going to be running it in the zone. So at some point, the excuse squad will have to group as 4 and aim their sights either on the engagement with Extreme Slayers or just rotate into the next circle.
Bope Esports, a squad that we've been waiting to kind of come online kind of by themselves over here. Nothing too crazy happening just yet. They are split a little bit. We can see the zone is kind of closing in, forcing some teams on top of each other. And one thing that we saw last week that I don't think we'll see this week is looks like all the teams that did land down there towards the military base have already kind of made their way across the bridge. Is what it looks like. So hopefully they'll be able to not get bridge camped like we saw last week happen. Okay, this fight's breaking out, though.
The camp, I mean, it finally started to activate right as Extreme Slayers are going to make the rotate in, thinking Excuse is leaving. Nah, Chronics, I'm going to be sitting at the wall for 5 minutes picking up a free knock on a trick, but it looks like they're actually going to be going for him. It's not over just yet for that squad, but right now, I think one thing I'd like to note, Dandro, since we're at this sort of moot point in the lobby is these teams, I feel, for the most part, when they come to rotate into these first 2 zones, I think they just overthink it too much. I like the idea of if you're Bope, per se, you know, even though you're trio, your drop spot's in, you're not in too bad of a position, like you're not that far away from center. What's your thoughts on people maybe rotating too early in some of these zones?
I think if you're going to rotate early, you better be rotating early because you know there's a particular building or area that you want to hold down. Otherwise, it just kind of, exactly to your point, it just feels a little bit overzealous. Especially right here, we can see C4. They tried to hop out. Sick goes for that shot through the window, but it's going to get taken out. Mezexis is here trying to take this fight onto C4. The grenades are coming on in. It looks like Enacting is going to be able to take down Sick. Bonneville going to be answering back onto Quan. It's going to be Valak in the 2v1 now. Is burning from that Molotov. The first aid kit comes on up, but it's not going to be enough as they decide to push on up and take down Valak.
Where's the rest of them as X's, Dandro? I mean, 2 of them just sitting on top of bunker. Quan had gone the opening knock, hit the 180, peeked around the wall, got a second player, I believe, on a C4, getting the opening for his squad, but everyone just kind of AFK, waiting around for someone else maybe to make the call, leaving Valak in a 2v1 position and unfortunately eating a bit of nade and molly damage. Now Mezexis having to be on his back foot, trying to just salvage what they can of the C4 fight.
And it's still a little weird. You have Inactive who's up close and personal trying to get these nades in, and you can see the other player, Nate, is still just playing from a distance right now. And C4, they actually have the shots onto Nate too. They know where Nate is, so they have to be careful. Otherwise,
and now I'm seeing it, Dandro. I hate to cut you off, but Inactive's alone now. C4 is going to opt to make the push. Thankfully, Nate did have a vehicle, but I mean, your teammate's still on the back foot, half HP. C4 now being themselves in the driver's seat of this fight at the compound that, in my eyes, they had no business winning.
No, they definitely have no business winning. We saw Sick just get absolutely deleted rolling on up, but C4 did a great job of kind of converting and being able to push out Mezexis. I was really kind of expecting them, you know, Nate and Inactive to kind of meet up using this vehicle and then just dip, but it's seemingly like they want to take the opportunity to try and get some of these eliminations and really work for this POI right here.
Yeah, and the POI itself, unfortunately, the zone shift is just south of them towards that bridge side. Ace of Spades, the team that we noted getting gate kept in the first week on that Millie Island, being able to make it across, now being dead center. So a lot of these teams, I don't think there's going to be anyone rotating towards this fight between C4 and Mezexis, but everyone else, I mean, they've kind of just forgotten about this fight. You're in your own little world up here on the north side, and I'm not too sure how long you're wanting to be in it till the zone connects here.
You can see Payne has hopped in this vehicle, is going away. A couple shots going in from behind, but nothing crazy. Will not kind of make any connects, as might just use this to kind of gain a little bit of sight line up top. Oh. Oh, I was getting ready
Nice
to
little
jam.
music. Yeah. Can we turn that up? Now, I remember they had done an Alan Walker collab, I believe, and it was like a feature with Ariana Grande or something, and it used to be played in every vehicle, and there was no option to turn off the music, I think, for the first week. So everyone's just hearing fly away, yada yada, like some random line from Ariana Grande, and it's just looped in everyone's mind that played comp for like a year straight, because that 1 week you would load into scrims and you're driving around a lot, that's the only song you hear. So thankfully they added an option to mute the sound. Luckily that player, he didn't have it turned on, so we got to jam a little bit, but man,
All right.
don't take me back to those days.
Yeah,
Gopher.
I'm glad that you had to suffer through that and I didn't. That is fantastic. Dauntless, the squad that we've been looking through. Klaus already down, but the 3 other players still up here. Now you can kind of see this middle of the map is just absolutely swarming with players right now. There's a lot of players who are kind of converging in. I like this. Ace of Spades have made their way across the bridge and are now just kind of loosely holding it just in case there's anybody else who they expect maybe is coming across. They don't have to hold the bridge directly. They can at least hold this building because this is probably where somebody rotating will come on through. They just have to be careful, though, that any of these Dauntless players don't look over at the right time, potentially kind of shred them out from a distance here. But everybody so far, Enigma, just kind of taking up their spots on the map and kind of chilling and hanging out. No real action yet.
See, I'm wanting it. See, now I'm wanting the action in the next
Same.
zone shift. So I'm hoping the zone shift, instead of it saying, centered on this Ace of Spades farm area, we go just straight south. Kiddo tells his team, you're going to send it across the water. YKG makes us rotate since they're on that far western side of the edge. They make the rotate, and all these teams that chose to converge into farm kind of have to eat their words and bite the bullet of, hey, maybe we just rotated too early in that zone shift, because if it goes milli base, everyone's either sending the water, you're sending the bridge, or you're sending the people right next to you.
I totally agree. I mean, Ace of Spades even have one player who's just sitting on the island as well. So is just kind of waiting to cross and is just maybe hoping that it does pull back over, playing that 50-50. Butterfly effect. You can see them here after winning that early fight and feeling good about it. They're now just trying to get in some shots into Zombie Boys from across the way. And you can see Zombie Boys kind of peeking their heads out here left and right, and Dark trying to do their best to get those shots to land. I mean, obviously going to take a couple bullets from that headshot in order to be able to get a down, and maybe you get aggressive and push on up, but looks like maybe just a couple heat checks coming on in as we see Baton, the other player from the Nomads, still alive. Just, well, doing what they do best, playing their life.
Yeah, and Passion Fruit right now, they're holding a little bit of a 2-2 split on the north side, so they're not going to get too aggressive unless I think Baton just over peaks and gives them that opening knock. But right now, I mean, we're coming down to just about 15 or so seconds before I think Doomsday might strike for half these squads, because the zone shift will happen. And for the most part, a lot of these teams, if they're not in zone, I mean, you're going to have to be looking to fight at some point. The guns cannot be cold. And you talked about the heat check and stuff like that with Butterfly Effect. Thankfully for them, they've already gotten 4 eliminations. They've taken fights with some people already on the map. So a lot of these teams, maybe too scared to take engagements, especially if you have a lost player. Oh.
Okay.
Wait a second.
Unknown? Revolver?
See, I think I've gotten 1 revolver knock in a scrim.
Okay.
I think that's it. Only 1. And some other people, I know they've had the Deagle, like the Desert Eagle. I've seen Winchester clips, but the melee and the revolver are the prime ones you want.
Well, trying to make it happen here in Titan Series. But we can see the zone did pull a little bit east, so won't be pulling back south, at least we don't think just yet, but is going to force a number of teams, though, to kind of come into zone. Some of these players already making the read, but here we go. Kiddo might be in a fight with Juan here, but is playing the other side of the wall. Juan using this edge of the ridge line to do some spot checking. Doesn't see anybody just yet, but he's got to be careful. Somebody might be able to find him. Kiddo is here. He sees the vehicle.
Toes.
I don't know if he saw the toes, though. Did he? Might have just seen the vehicle.
Well, now he did. Kiddo ran inside, but Juan trying to get the sort of nade opening. I don't think it'll really happen too much here. I think it's kind of just asking for a saving grace kind of throw. But Ace of Spades, you know, this is the team that had that sort of south split on the bridge, decided to actually converge down into his 4-man squad. But elsewhere on the map, they get slammed. SLR versus YKG on an edge compound.
You saw that Molotov come in on that vehicle. Could have been a little crazy. Deleted user. Trying to sit here. You can see SLR starting to surround them. Oh, we might see a player on the side, though. XCZ going to be able to open it on up onto Excavation as they decide to start flying in. Here comes Shawad. As they start coming through, the shots are coming on in. SLL player down. The DBS going to work. Joey gonna be able to find White Elegy. Oh my gosh, YKG is just turning this one around, hitting him with the Uno reverse card. Says, you want to come into our building? We're making you pay for it.
Yeah, and I mean, Joey, most players didn't realize it there, but the smoke right in the corner going first person, so his back's not consumed by the smoke cloud, picking up 2 knocks on the entry, and thankfully deleted user didn't get knocked down with the DBS, but oh my! Worst case situation, Dandro. They all died of the nade.
I can't believe that. He's holding the nade. He's pre-cooking it, and they just come around the corner. Oh my gosh. That is both YKG and SLR taking out. YKG in 13th with 6 eliminations. SLR in 14th with 4. Wow. Talk about a fight that you did not expect to happen. They just absolutely take each other. Yeah, let's hit the instant replay on this one. Because that was just...
The nade toss, boom! Both of them.
Oh, man.
And then the kill effect on top of it.
You just see them all collapse at once. Oh, I can't believe it. Wow. Hey, that's why you tune into Titan series, baby.
But look at this. I mean, Passion Fruit, they heard shots going down earlier on, maybe monitoring the kill feed. Actually just recognized, hey, you know, there's probably going to be 1 player left alive at the compound. We could pick up that elimination point. Fortunately for them, no one's there. Maybe a bit of free loot for them. You know, there's 8 bodies now. There are 8 little crates to loot, but nice little rotation play from them. There's still other teams in the lobby. See Zombie Boys and stuff like that just to the north of them. 412 Nomads, unfortunately, down to just Baton here. I think their player was somewhere off of Narnia on top of a sniper tower or something. There he goes, unfortunately getting punched out. But the zone shift closes. It goes into Milta. We're having another city finish. And for this, I mean, you're kind of hoping you're able to get a spot on that south side because the Milta Road is basically just, I mean, it's doomsday for you if you get caught on the northern side. And some of these teams, I mean, they're going to have to choose which side they're wanting to take here, Dandro.
There's a lot of people who are coming on in with vehicles already. We're actually seeing SBG kind of taking an early engagement and finding one onto a boat player. Ace of Spades now kind of coming on in, looking to maybe make some waves. A couple different angles. We're seeing a lot of teams are migrating their way on in, using these vehicles to try and get there. But there's only so many buildings you could potentially take up in. As you can see, Robert GG finds another boat player. Both getting picked apart right now. Not really, it looks like engaging in any fight, but it looks like just have a couple different teams finding their angle.
Yeah, and I mean, angles is the name of the game here. As soon as you pull up, you're going to be forced into an engagement either with someone or something across the way. And some of these players, I mean, are absolute monsters when it comes to the long-range sprays. But right now, we're having to see Dauntless, see what the CQC magic can be like with Mango going up against Ace of Spades. Oh!
Oh, no. Oh, no.
Not again. Not like last week.
Yeah, I would really prefer not to see that. Mango, thankfully able to dodge the self-nade, does have a number of Ace of Spades players coming on in. There's a nade that will drop at their feet, taking away about 1/3 of their HP. But look at this. There's just nade after nade is coming on in. Mango trying to be able to get this first aid kit off. Can they? You can see the Ace of Spades players. They are underneath, but it's actually gonna be Necro from downtown. It looks like maybe who's gonna help that on that out. Supra gets taken out. Bope Esports goes down in 10th place, only with 2 eliminations to their name.
Yeah, and I think Bope just ended up full sending Dauntless and stuff like that. Both those teams getting eliminated at the same time. Also believe 412 Nomads eliminated at some point with the rotations and the engagements. But we still have a few teams still having to make it in. I believe it's Passion Fruit and Zombie Boys that were stuck on that western edge of the previous zone, forcing themselves to come in. But we're down to just 27 remaining, Gandro. 8 of them are teams themselves. And, I mean, now we're having to look at Passion Fruit. Actually finding a bit of maybe a honey hole spot for them, kind of isoed out of the city, away from all the other teams.
Yeah, it looks like it's a very solid spot for them to be able to hold on down. SBG sitting pretty right now. They're kind of split. They're in a 2-2 split. We can see Araya trying to maybe be able to blow down the smokes in order to get the revive off onto Robs. Have to wait and see. It looks like Ace of Spades definitely has their sights set on over them. They have to be careful.
Oh, the vehicles, Dandro.
Oh, no.
I don't think they're going to let him get it.
Oh,
yeah,
no.
Arya's tuck and tail. Leave Robs to die. I like the idea. Ace of Spades, though, might not be getting off the gas just yet, because Robs now still maybe in a spot for SBG to get. I'm not too sure if SBG is going to go for it, but looks like they're going to tuck tail and run. Ace of Spades now having to be a team that works in a zone, not going too far, but this is one of those zone shifts, Dandra, where if you're already in the city, it's nice and easy. But if you're having to slam it, you have no idea where teams are playing, if they're split, where nades are going to be landing from. And unfortunately, now we're seeing the engagement with C4 getting slammed behind by Passion Fruit.
Passion Fruit's kind of in this sort of double fight right now. You can see Extreme Slayers in the bar near them. Passion Fruit taking up this building as well, as we see Robert and Jawaya. But look who's coming in from the backside. It's Black Mamba in the cavalry. 4 vehicles just rolling up on your compound. You got to be scared right now. If you are Extreme Slayers, you are in the middle of a death sandwich as both of you are split. Black Mamba and Passion Fruit, though, could kind of make this engage. And if they're not careful, one of these Extreme Slayers players could definitely bring them on down.
Yeah, I think the saving grace for Extreme Slayers was C4 being the team that got eliminated out. Wasn't their engagement or getting knocked through the window. They're able to kind of stabilize a bit and wait for this next zone shift to happen. But a team that's not really in the same luxury position is going to be Zombie Boys, who's had a decent performance in my eyes over the last 2 weeks. But today, right now, unfortunately, this match down to just 2 players.
Have to just hang on for dear life is really what they have to do. Zombie Boys and Excuse both down to their final 2 players. Everybody else up at a full 4 players. So this can be very hectic when we see the zone kind of squishing on teams more and more. Black Mamba did a great job kind of rolling up to this compound and just staying up, gaining their buildings where they wanted to. Somebody knows Extreme Slayers is in here, though. We're seeing the nades kind of come in on the top roof.
Yeah, it's a guessing game. I mean, the nades, I'd like to be seeing teams kind of save them a bit later. We're only in the stage 5 of the zone shifts. Still have 2 or 3 more after this. But these teams now, we're going to have to see, are they going to the north or south side? It shifts onto the Passion Fruit field, Dandro. Everyone who was on that southern side of the road is going to have to make the question of how did the chicken cross the road, because they're going to have to make the same feat.
Zombie Boys, you can see, was not able to answer that question. Taken out at 7th with 2 eliminations. Black Mamba now trying to figure out how do they want to make this wrap. You do have the 2 players of Excuse who are already in zone. You have Extreme Slayers who's right on the edge, but behind them is Passion Fruit. So Passion Fruit, if they play this right, they could be able to rip open some of the teams of the likes of Black Mamba and Ace of Spades. They're able just to kind of hold the right positioning.
Yeah, positioning is going to be key. You don't want to give an opening knock. Make sure no one kind of slips away into the field and takes a center position. You want to make sure you're able to beam everyone out of vehicles and stuff like that. But looks like a Black Mamba player getting beamed out of theirs by an Extreme Slayers player. And we're seeing on the map, everyone's making the great migration right now, Dandro. Ace of Spades crosses as that. I believe it was SBG slams that eastern side of the zone, taking on the engagement with Excuse. And we're having a fight everywhere on the map right now.
Everybody is just trying to gain their space, take it on down. We can see Ace of Spades is getting lit up. SBG, though, might be the one to kind of make the smart play here. You can see one of those Excuse players is taken out. Only...
Oh,
2 down as there's a grenade that goes on through. Black Mamba now in this fight. Y trying to do their best to just stay alive, getting some shots in. SBG, they were feeling confident about this fight, but with Snow going down, maybe they don't want to get as aggressive. Look at Skaz.
Yeah, I mean, he took the buggy and just left his team saying, hey, I'm going to play for placement. You guys do your thing. You're not in zone. And unfortunately, you know, the player getting knocked up top by a Passion Fruits player is going to leave him in the zone, but Extreme Slayers are now forced to take this engagement with Ace of Spades, but Ace of Spades isn't in zone. Half of them are getting knocked to the dad blue, and unfortunately, just one player up. Oh, man. I mean, if I'm Ace of Spades, I'm asking who's looking at the clock right now, because you should never be going down as, I think it was all 4 of them being knocked to play zone.
It was definitely a lot of them. If not, they were kind of just getting gate kept, right? And they were getting hit by nades. They were getting tagged up. But yeah, it was see the play zone coming on in and dealing those final ticks of damage. They get taken out in 6th place with, I believe I thought it saw 1 elimination.
Wow.
So 3 points total, but only 1 elim. So you see some of these other squads, though, sitting currently with a large number of points. 5 eliminations for both Extreme players and SPG. And 4 for Passion Fruit.
Yeah, fortunately, a self molly or something, or a team molly on the Skaz. Now, thankfully for them, they do pick up the nade. I like that team synergy there, both throwing it at the same time. SBG. Now, I actually thought that, I believe it was Skaz player out in that field we noted earlier was going to slam under Passion Fruit, actually regrouping with the squad saying, hey, let's take this engagement 4v4. Passion Fruit still raining terror on a Black Mamba, and they must have had nades the entire game. They're throwing it every other second, Dandro, onto the Black Mamba squad. And right now, I mean, we're looking at the SBG fight, having to do God's work right now against Extreme Slayers.
You can see 2 of them are down, it looks like, as they're just kind of trying to hold from a different angle. Trick, though, has that DBS in hand, looking to maybe make something work with it. Comes out, finds 1. Quick little peek. Can he find another? Tries to get cheeky around the angle. He's going to 3rd-person peek. Can they see it? They're seeing the zone come on in. Comes around the corner. Going to be able to find Ross, but Juancho going to be able to answer back. Hey, look at this. Passion Fruit sees all of this from across the way. The shots are coming out. They are just set up beautifully. 4 players of Passion Fruit still alive. 1 player of Black Mamba, 2 of Extreme Slayers. Passion Fruit, they just have to sit up here and just let everybody filter into them.
Yeah, and the saving grace is, you know, it's only 1 Extreme Slayers player up. I think maybe 2 actually are seeing a few resets, but Passion Fruit not able actually to find the elimination thirst. So this is starting to turn into a bit of a 4v4 situation, Dandro. This is the last zone shift as well.
Wow.
I mean, I think it's a bit of a missed opportunity on a Passion Fruit.
Maybe so, but you can see it does look like the zone is kind of pulling in a little bit towards them some more. So they are doing a pretty good job. You saw them get another knock. So even if they're not converting off of these, they're doing a great job of just burning all of the meds that they can from Extreme Slayers. And here we go. Juancho Snake in the grass, going to use these smoke grenades to his advantage. Starts pushing on up. Extreme Slayers are trying to figure out where they go. Divine has been able to come on over, though. He sees the grenade. Divine going to be able to turn on it. Trick goes down as well. The Bison is singing as Passion Fruit is going to clean up Extreme Slayers and pull up a winner chicken dinner.
Yeah, I mean, the rotation they had decided to third party the YKG engagement. Unfortunately, no elimination points there for them to grab with the self-nade. But for Passion Fruit, making that eastern rotation onto the edge of the map, slamming onto the north side where I believe it was C4 holding that compound. If you're C4, you're really kind of just punching the air right now, giving up a position like that where it ultimately is the game-ending spot, game-winning position. And I was kind of worried about that XS team being able to get a full reset off on the edge of zone, but thankfully Passion Fruit being able to salvage it, playing controlled, and ultimately getting the win.
Yeah, really great positioning by Passion Fruit, but we got to bring Taylor back in here to break down that last final map because, man, that was insane.
It was, man, wasn't it? You know, all teams were desperately trying to stay alive as long as they possibly could. You know, we've been hot and heavy with the initials basically since map 1, 2, and 3, and that represents also last week too, but this time it was very, very slow. until we got it to about Zone 3. And Enigma, to give you credit, you actually pointed that out and said, things are about to start heating up after that Zone 2 going into Zone 3 because it just kind of compressed everybody. Plus, obviously, the teams had to rotate and find an advantage. But I want to start off, though, with just off the rip, that nade. I know we'll be seeing that in the replays. Enigma, that nade was so nutty for a number of different reasons, and the biggest reason being YKG gets eliminated, but they were on fire up until the Cook nade took them all out.
Yeah, I mean, 2v4 situation, your teammates baiting at the double doors. It actually looked almost that he was stuck on the door, not able to peek out. Joey, though, doing a bit of a cheeky little FVP smoke play, getting 2 players, opening up the fight, winning the next 1v1 himself after resetting. And unfortunately, when it comes down to that 2v1 situation, you can maybe say, hey, we heard the pin pulled. Why are we so grouped up? But you're also not expecting, hey, we're both kind of full HP. How do both of us get knocked to 1-8?
That's right. This is the start of the Dandro, battle inside the houses, inside the hardcover. And then here's the Cook nade. They all run forward, and, throws it on the ground. He knows he's going down, but, hey, he's going to take them all with him. Picks up 3. That was beautiful. But, again, why is that important, Dandro? Because, hey, if YKG stays alive there, I think they pass, I think they pass Nomads up. But because they all get taken down, I think they didn't pass Nomads up. Nomads is still in first.
Brother, they got taken out in 13th with 6 eliminations, right? Like, look at how much of the lobby was left. We saw Passion Fruit made this rotation. They're able to pick up an insane amount of eliminations. Passion Fruit won that with 13, right? If YKG can even just hold them, they can contest them, they can find probably even more eliminations on the way. I agree with you. They could easily pass up the Nomads if they were able to stay alive, but that just great play from Super Lazy Reflex stops that in their track and allows Passion Fruit to finish this game out like we're seeing now in the replays.
Yeah, good job, Passion Fruit. That is a massive win. And 2 games, one today. Week 1, they weren't existent, or they were, but, not as heavy as they are today. They win Miramar. They finish off Game 4 strong to finish off Week 2 strong with a victory, 9 eliminations, and one of the top earners when it came to, I think, overall stats today. Outside of YKG, of course. YKG did a stellar job, Enigma, going up the leaderboard, and what a day. What a day it was indeed. God nades, big nades, 78 nades used in Miramar. Dude, it's just a crazy day. Passion Fruit, though, 23 points. That's huge.
That is an insane amount. Enigma, when we look at this and we see Passion Fruit with these 13 elims and those 10 placement points, what does that kind of tell for you? What did they change between map 1 and the last map?
Well, I think it's more so just they made it in the late game. They're not dying early on rotation. They're not taking early engagements. They obviously were looking for that third-party fight on the YKG. Unfortunately, no one was there, like I've stated before. But Passion Fruit, though, they were able to find themselves in the prime position. They made a good rotation and ultimately were able to hit the shots when they need it the most. But that's a squad that has a lot of history, knowing the name of the game, knowing, what's a good and a bad play. Unfortunately, maybe a bit of rust on the gun skill side of things. But for them, being able to secure that win, I think really just reminds them, hey, we've been in this position before.
Nomads holding on to first place for the 2nd week in a row, but this time a little bit less dramatic, right, than the first time. They lead by 5. YKG, if the nade doesn't take them out, they most likely see themselves in first. So week 3 is going to be interesting. The final chance to get those bonus points. SBG, Dandro, had a huge come up along with Passion Fruit and Extreme Slayers, the top 3 earners for today.
Yeah, this is kind of why I love this, right? I feel like week to week, we see just one banger map with maybe a very solid kind of couple other maps tease up these squads to be able to make these jumps to the top. So when I'm looking at this sort of bottom half of the lobby, this 9th through 16th, that's what I look at. We saw Black Mamba. They showed signs of life today. C4 showed signs of life today. Ace of Spades had some, really great moments. So as long, I think, as they can kind of take these same learnings and realize that they're not out of the running yet, they can have a really solid game next week, along with maybe a win on one of these maps. They could be right up there at the top with some of these top squads.
Yeah, Black Mamba, great point out there, Dandro. Sanhok, Erangel, both back-to-back 3rd places. Despite that, though, they're only able to go from 11th to 9th place, ultimately starting with 14, finishing with 33. So they're going to have to do a little bit better when it comes to slaying. If they can just match that energy, that 50-50 energy that we talked about a little bit earlier with like a team such as Dauntless, right? 50% from elimination, 50% from placements. Black Mamba, they could be looking like a very solid team. Week 3, it's going to be coming up, and I can't wait to see who's going to end up on top. Who's getting all those bonus points, because today was pretty wild, and I think adding on that PMSL spot really is making everybody play to their fullest extent. Dandro, it was a great day. Wonderful job casting, brother. What are your final words before we get out of here?
Hey man, I love being able to come on here to PUBG Mobile, and I'm glad that we saw a couple new teams really come online today, right? I mean, it's always fun when you have teams doing really well, but it gets boring, right? When you have the same squads doing the best every single week, and it feels like, especially this year of Titan Series, we're seeing more and more squads just be able to find their footing, and we're having a really competitive time. So I'm right there with you. I want to see who's taking home these extra bonus points, and I think next week is going to just throw everything up in the air because we're only seeing teams get better.
That's right. Teams are getting better and better. Enigma, you're getting better from the very start of Titan Series to now. You're a true commentator, and I love listening to the insight you bring to each and every broadcast. What are your final words before we get out of here?
Well, I mean, maybe it's the wizardness in me or something like that, but no, I mean, it's obviously because of you guys. You know, you, Dandro, Dave, Jukes, any of the talent stuff. I mean, shout out to them for helping me. It's always been a treat.
Dude, and you know what? We got a great team here when it comes to PUBG Mobile, and we have an even better audience. Thank you so much for always being here. You guys bring that energy. There was great discussions out there about the players and the teams. I was trying to keep up with it all night. Make sure you hit the like button if you haven't, and the subscribe button so you don't miss out on each and every broadcast. And like I said, go if you want to look at all the stats that really any stat that you could possibly imagine when it comes to Titan Series. Go to titanseries.gg so you can stay up to date and be well informed for week 3, which is going to be coming up next Saturday at 7 Central Standard Time, 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. We would love to have you. For myself, Taylor Reflections, Noble, we got Enigma, we also have Dandro, as well as Dave. Thank you so much for being here. Be back next Saturday. We would love to have you.